Yo, what's good, bro? What's good? Little story time today. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody got to worry about doing all that talking and then carrying on. It's Chi-Town story time. I know y'all seen the title. Are you familiar with King Von Cheese? KI? You can't call it. I feel you. I can't call it either, bro. I just taking one day at a time. I feel you. What's up, Troy? Troy? I know you familiar with King Von and Ki. City boy. Yeah, he rocked tough with Lil Durk. Yeah, in the beginning. It wasn't like that right before he passed away. Yeah, that's him. They didn't name him uh rappers most notorious serial killer in Chicago. Mm. They put a mural of him, painted a mural of him directly across from where he grew, well, where he lived the basically the last part of his life. He grew up over there too, but that's not where he is originally from. He originally was over west, not out west, but over west of Chicago, and it's in the inner city. Me and him actually went to the same grammar school because I was living literally on the same block as him, but I'm way older than he is. Uh, he definitely came after the fact that I left because I think we moved from over there on that block. Uh, and they gonna tell y'all the block in the video anyway, so it ain't like I'm holding it a secret. It's gonna tell you the elementary school he came from, everything. So, but I moved from over that block. I was in third grade when I moved from over there. I was born in the 90s. I was 1980, so I probably got about maybe a good, I don't know, maybe about a good 12, 13 years on him or something like that. I'm finna get everything set up on my end. So what's been good though? Let me just do this real quick. That way I don't have to worry about it. So what you eat today, cheese? What y'all had today? What you eat today, cheese? My bad, y'all. Yeah, that's what's up. That means everything went well. You ain't have to worry about nothing. Congratulations, bro. I'm so happy for you, bro. Real talk. It's all working in your favor. Pork chops and mashed potatoes, nice. I had pork chop and cream corn earlier. I had a little some on my belly. Mm-hmm. Had a little some on my belly. Okay, I'm set up now, so that way. Let me see where I know Lisa was doing something earlier, but she told me to let her know once I go live. So let me try to contact her real quick. Everybody else probably still at work. Child of God, she probably on her way home from work or something. And she 2 hours ahead of us. But I'm not gonna wait too long because I don't want to take away from you saying at least part of the story, Cheese. So I ain't gonna take too long waiting on them. 'Cause I understand everybody got their own stuff going on, which is cool. They always still can go back if they like. I guess it was a pork chop day today. Okay. Give them a little minute. Man, guess what, Cheese? It'll get up to 97, 98 degrees today, and tomorrow it's supposed to be just a little bit well over 100 tomorrow. Like, why they playing with us like that? They know us Chicago folks can't deal with that shit. They know this. They know this. Boy, I was dwelling going outside this crib. Y'all was 113. That's not even including the index. At least we had some type of wind. I'm so glad, you know what I mean? Like the lake be around us and stuff. So, man, if it wasn't for that doggone sun is so disrespectful. I mean, I put my sunglasses on, and it was kind of hard for me to even see. It was so disrespectful. Oh wow, it's gonna be hotter than 113. I ain't got time for that. But one thing I do know, I'm not coming down south in the summertime. Well, I have to have me a work from home job during the summer. I move around throughout the rest of the year, but during the summer, I'm gonna have to have me a work from home job. I cannot do the heat like that. I'm a fall baby, first off, and then I'm born and raised in a windy city. That explains it all. Ah, you damn right. I will burn the hell up. I can't do it. I hate when it get hot like this out here. Like it didn't even get this doggone hot like this throughout the summertime. We going into the fall. Like that's crazy. But that's the city for you. Yeah, I'll burn up. We used to go out there um like every year for our family reunion when I was coming up. Shit. I used to hate it. I used to hate it so bad, but I always had fun riding on the ponies and everything. Only thing I didn't get a chance to learn how to do was fish. That's the only thing I didn't get a chance to learn how to do was learn how to fish. But we used to go down there every year for our family reunion because that's the heart of our family. That's where our roots is from. I ain't cooked nothing. I had went over to my mama house and made sure she was good. And she had one of the pork chops, so she had like a pack of 3 pork chops. So I made one, gave her one, gave Britt one, and she had some leftover corn, cream style corn, and I ate some of that. My appetite really ain't even really like been like that at all. So trying to get my mind back focused, trying to refocus. So I really don't know if I'm even cook tonight. I don't know. I do not. All right, so I'm assuming everybody is busy. They will catch up because this video is pretty long and I got 2 videos to show before I actually end the live. So I will be on here quite some time. So even cheese, even if you just trying to go to sleep and you can't go to sleep because you're a little too excited because you're going back to work to go make that money, I still be on. You can just listen and have your eyes closed. Matter of fact, just let it keep on running. All right, I'm about to get started though now. I was about to get started. Let me do this like this first. Yeah, already. And you know I forgot what that mean anyway again, but the down south slang. We about to get started.
Dave. Davon Bennett was born on August the 9th, 1994 in Chicago, Illinois, growing up on West 78th and South Hermitage in an area known as Killer Ward, an area mainly affiliated with the Chicago gangs, the Gangster Disciples, and the Black P. Stones. Von would attend Barton Elementary School in the area, but despite starting life as a fairly normal kid in Chicago, he would be subjected to the influence of gangbanging in his family home from a young age. His father was Walter E. Bennett, aka Silk, a well-known street dude from nearby Ada Park. Von was mainly raised by his mother, as his father was in and out of jail throughout his childhood. But Von's father was apparently a legend in the streets, with ties to the street gang, the Black Disciples. However, much like Von, despite the fearsome reputation he'd earned in the streets, it would ultimately be this proximity to gang life that would lead to his father's demise, as King Von's dad Silk was shot dead when Von was only 11 years old, apparently being targeted by a sniper outside of a skating rink, according to an interview with King Von's uncle.
Rest in peace, King Von. Rest in peace, Silk. That's crazy. Like I'm with Big Bro every day. My kill his daddy with a sniper rifle. This get deep though. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, sniper. I hit him with a sniper rifle. They at the skate rink, but you know that's another story.
It seems clear that King Von's father Silk was remembered as a legend of the block. However, coping with the loss of his father at such a young age clearly had a negative effect on the mindset of a young King Von. He would tweet and rap in freestyles years later that he simply couldn't sleep after his father's death.
They killed my daddy, I couldn't even go to sleep.
And throughout his teenage years, he would post RIP tributes to his father on Twitter to commemorate his birthdays. Naturally, Von would follow in his father's footsteps, getting involved in local gang politics at a young age, with Von actually telling 16 Shot and Visuals in his very first interview that he got involved in the streets in 4th grade, eventually getting his hands on guns by the time he got to high school.
You was out toting pikes in 4th grade, like when you started?
I probably had a BB gun or something. It wasn't that heck, like, it ain't get, I just been, you know, in the streets, there's also, I just like being outside. You know, one of the little boys that like sleeping out, just being outside all day, just doing bed. Man, the gun, all that stuff, that shit come to play to like what? Yeah, like late 8th grade, 7th, 8th grade when it really got to that point where you gotta hurt somebody or somebody trying to hurt you or you gotta protect yourself.
Von would rap on the unreleased song Wait that he jumped off the porch, getting deeply involved in gang politics in 2006 when he was just 12 years old. Von would initially be a member of a local street crew affiliated with the Gangster Disciples called Killer Ward, being seen in numerous group pictures with that crew. And affiliates from the area would later post tweets suggesting that Von was indeed putting in work for this crew during his time gangbanging in Killer Ward, with Von himself corroborating that he was close to the members in Killer Ward where he was born, but making it clear that he's always been a member of the Black Disciples due to his family affiliation. Now, Von would live around Killer Ward up to around 2008 or 9, after which he would eventually move to the infamous Parkway Gardens housing development. This housing complex is notorious for its affiliations with the Black Disciples street gang. Parkway Gardens would later be referred to by insiders as O Block, but prior to that, it was referred to as Wick City. And here, King Von would meet many of the people who would end up having a huge influence on his life and career. People famous for their affiliation to O Block, whether through the gang wars going on there or through the music that had been made about the gang war. People like Boss Top, Chief Keef, T-Roy, White, Duke, BJ, Big A, Trey 5, Sharoid, J Money, Platoon, and countless other people that played a big role in Von's life growing up. Von would also attend a new school in the area, the Hyde Park Academy, where he would attend with people from other rival territories with affiliations to the Gangster Disciples. People like FBG Duck, who would even claim in a Twitter exchange in 2014 to have plotted to beat King Von up on the school bus, and people like Lil Mark, who Von would even be seen in throwback pictures with before their feud had escalated into something deadly. Von and his friends started out their gangbanging careers with fistfights with the ops at school, schoolyard scuffles that would unfortunately escalate over the coming years, developing into full-blown gang war with firearms involved. Over time, a teenage Von would begin getting more and more involved in Chicago's street gang conflicts, apparently bringing guns to school as young as age 13. Chop Squad, who went to school with both Von and G Herbo, would claim that Von would even show off guns in class, with it apparently being Von himself who started the trend of teenage gangbangers in their school bringing guns to class.
Von was the type of person to bring a pole to school at 13 for. Like, that's what me and Herb was talking about. He was like, he knew it was real when Von walked up to him in school. He was like, he had flashed the pole or something. He was like, Herb knew every day from there it was up. He was like, oh, we bringing guns to school? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, it's on now. He's like, every day from there, everybody brought guns to school. And he's like, Von was the one to start that off.
In fact, G Herbo would even later rap about this on a collaboration with Von called FaceTime, saying that Von showed him a revolver in freshman orientation, an experience which led G Herbo to begin bringing guns to school himself too. Now, King Von was apparently out of control as a youngster. According to one story, Von actually did a shooting on prom night whilst wearing his suit, after literally tweeting out that somebody better not try him in his suit. So naturally, you can imagine Von ended up spending a significant amount of time in trouble with the law as a teenager, with large patches of his most formative years spent inside jail cells. Von went to jail for the first time around August 2010 at age 16 for armed robbery, apparently robbing someone for their car at gunpoint. Something that he would actually later refer to on his song Armed and Dangerous, saying that he was arrested on August 11th, 2 days after his 17th birthday, when he was offered 21 to 45 years in a plea deal. Von would end up spending time in boot camp, an intense military-style juvenile program, ultimately rewarding him with early release. But soon after that initial charge, Von would catch another in January 2011, ultimately spending 15 months behind bars as a juvenile, being locked up between December 2010 and March 2012. And during this time of incarceration, Von's best friend T-Roy would tweet calling for his release. Eventually, in March 2012, Von would be a free man once again, but he was only free for a matter of months, from March to November 2012. But during this time, Von would undergo a transformation, going from a gun-toting stick-up kid to a full-fledged killer after witnessing the death of one of his close friends, which, as he put it, turned him into a demon.
Karol G. Mañana será Bonito Tour. En concierto. Boletos a la venta ya en livenation.com.
Before we get into the first murders that King Von was allegedly involved in, I just want to take the time to consider
Okay, y'all. So what I wanted to do, I paused it for a little bit. Chi-Town Talks has a Facebook page now. So I'm going to post the link, or you all can try to search it on Facebook if you can. It's right down there in the little pink banner that you can see up right up under the video. It's right there. And it's still, I'm just going to put the name up in the chat. And then once I can copy the link on there, I'll copy the link and put it up in the chat. So y'all go follow the page on Facebook, because I'm going to be putting content over there as well. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to be going live over there, but as far as just putting videos over there, yeah, because, you know, I got to see how all of this. I know Facebook is totally ran different from YouTube. You got a little bit more freedom over here on YouTube. So it might just be videos over there. So just in case y'all don't want to, come to YouTube to try to find whatever video that I posted or something like that, y'all can catch it over there on Facebook. And then when y'all find the Facebook, please share it out to y'all page. I appreciate it. All right, let's get back to it.
Consider the real reasons why he would be motivated to kill in the first place. Despite covering a lot of gangsters who are hardened killers, it's important to consider the social circumstances that need to exist for a teenage boy to start committing murders. Firstly, these areas where King Von grew up in Southside Chicago, Killer Ward and O Block, are incredibly poor and dangerous areas, with the latter even being described by the local Sun-Times newspaper as the most dangerous block in Chicago. Part of the reason why so many of these gang murders in Chicago go unsolved is due to the failure of policing in these areas. Someone like King Von grew up seeing death and destruction as a completely normal thing. And if the police never come to your area to solve crimes or deliver justice, it's easy to see why you would place more trust in street justice than in the state. Furthermore, you really have to ponder whose fault is it really that somewhere like O Block ended up being so poor and dangerous. While it's easy to blame the gangsters and killers there for cultivating a lawless environment, the city and the state politicians ultimately have failed to create the economic circumstances for someone to grow up safely in these areas. Had there been better economic prospects in the hoods of Chicago, perhaps many of these young men wouldn't have been forced into a life of crime and violence. Furthermore, when it comes to the analysis of King Von's eventual transformation into what some have described as a serial killer, there's actually an argument to be made that geography may have played a part in King Von feeling like he could get away with so many murders. The 70s to the 2000s have actually been described as the golden age of serial murder, and one possible cause for this phenomenon around this period has been cited as urbanization and the concentration of inner city living. Some people have said that putting so many people in such close proximity ends up offering a unique level of anonymity when it comes to committing crimes in these complicated, busy, and overpopulated areas. Put simply, this means that in O Block, the sheer amount of people, overlapping gang conflicts, and normalization of violence on the streets means that somebody like King Von could kill multiple people without attracting too much attention to him personally. As sad as it is to say, in the eyes of the cops, a victim is just another casualty of the gang war rather than a specific crime that could be solved. And it's these circumstances that were the perfect conditions for a young King Von to begin killing people in his community with minimal consequences. And whilst King Von was in jail, gun violence had raged on between the Black disciples from Wick City and the rival gangster disciples from St. Lawrence and Eberhard Avenues, or STL-EBT. And during this time, whilst King Von was incarcerated, a 15-year-old gangster disciple from the rival hood by the name of Tuka was murdered. Real name Shondale Gregory, Tuka was shot dead at a bus stop on the 600 block of East 63rd Street on the 12th of January 2011 at around 6:48 p.m. It was around that time that a masked gunman jumped out of a vehicle, shooting Tuka several times. Tuka was hated by his rivals from the Black disciples, and over the next decade, BDs would continue to disrespect him on social media and in popular songs. And in honor of their fallen friend, gangster disciples from St. Lawrence and Eberhard would rename their area Tukaville. It's never been fully revealed to the public who killed Tuka, but ever since, there has been intense speculation that a boy named O.D. Perry from Wick City might have had something to do with it. This is partly due to him being pictured regularly with a silver revolver, and the witness report from the Tuka murder stated that Tuka was actually shot with a long-barreled silver revolver. Regardless of whether or not O.D. was really the person who killed Tuka, that didn't really matter, because later that year, on August the 10th, 2011, in an act of retaliation, O.D. Perry was killed just outside Parkway Gardens. He would suffer multiple gunshot wounds, including one to the neck, at about 11:35 p.m. Just like Tukaville, Wick City was also renamed in the memory of their fallen friend O.D., O Block, and it's believed that one of the shooters who killed O.D. was a female teenage shooter by the name of Jakira Barnes, or K.I. Following the murder, K.I. would begin to pose on social media with a silver revolver, similar to the one that O.D. was known to carry. And her rumored involvement in this murder of a beloved O Block member would lead to K.I. becoming a major target herself, with matters not helped by the fact that she would regularly tweet insulting O.D. Perry and alluding to having killed him, along with others who would openly claim that K.I. made the O, meaning that she killed O.D. and was the one that caused Wick City to change the name of their block to O Block. But the tragedies in O Block were far from over. On the 18th of October 2011, another O Block native by the name of Patoon, real name Edward Riley, would be shot dead inside O Block after being approached by two people with firearms. Another devastating loss to the community would come when 19-year-old Sherroyd Liggins would be shot in the head and left for dead on February the 16th, 2012, also at O Block. This murder was particularly notable for the fact that it was believed that Sherroyd was killed by a Tukaville shooter by the name of Boss Trell. As the gang war in his neighborhood continued to take more and more of his friends' lives, King Von would get more and more involved, continuing to play a role in the gang war going on in Chicago's street underworld. Von later rapped on the song Don't Want to Be Me that everything changed for him in 2012, and that this is when he decided to get more active in the gang war. with Von saying specifically that the deaths of OD and Platoon completely changed his plans and led him to put on a mask and get active in the gang war. Now, there's a lot of speculation about the exact murders that Von was allegedly involved in, and we might never know definitively if he was truly involved in all the violence that he was rumored to be associated with, but the very first murder that Von was associated with took place on April the 28th, 2012, when a group of 4 men would catch a man called King Doc, real name Marlon Monroe, shooting him as he walked into a convenience store, with Doc apparently stumbling into a patch of tall weeds after the shooting, where he would pass away and lay undiscovered for hours. Doc would eventually be found dead by his 16-year-old cousin, Modell McCambry. Doc would be remembered as an original native of St. Lawrence and Everhart Avenues, with his affiliation to the area likely the reason that the killers from O-Block would target him, despite the fact that Doc had apparently left the gang life behind him, becoming a painter to get out of the streets. Apparently hurt by the death of his cousin, Modell, that boy who discovered Doc's body, would then begin to get more involved in the gangs in the area too, beginning to hang around with people like KI and FBG Duck, as well as being seen on social media with guns. In fact, it's actually around this time that social media begins to play a bigger and bigger role in the gang war in Chicago. And during this time, King Von himself would become a prolific user of Twitter, beginning a flurry of activity on the platform after signing up in June 2012, and going on to tweet constantly about his activities in the streets, seemingly with no fear about incriminating himself. Von would openly claim to be drilling in the name of O.D. Perry. He would say that he was like Phineas and Ferb in the streets with his best friend and fellow O-Block shooter T-Roy, warning ops not to diss them, claiming to shoot people like it's nothing. He would tweet that he's been drilling from young and even wants to kill cops too. He would say outright that he will whack people. He would regularly diss numerous rival hoods and gangs, and be claiming to be paranoid due to having so many people trying to kill him. Von claimed on Twitter to get so enraged whenever he hears the name Tuca or St. Lawrence that his trigger finger just starts itching. But during this time that Von was tweeting openly about all the crimes that he was willing to do in the streets, these crimes would continue to play out. On August the 7th, 2012, Von would make a tweet saying that homicide is in the air and that it smells like a graveyard. Then, in the early hours of the morning the following day, on August the 8th, 2012, a group of guys from O-Block, rumored to include King Von and T-Roy, would be out looking for enemies to kill. Dirty Rel, real name Terrell Joshua, an older member with affiliations to St. Lawrence, Everhart, and Jarrow City, who had actually moved out of Chicago but was back in town, would end up being shot dead and found on a sidewalk on the first block of East 56th Street in Washington Park just before 3:30 a.m. However, in this case, retaliation would come fast. As the day of August 8th, 2012 goes by, that same evening, around 11:30 p.m., King Von is out with his close friend White White, real name Tony Dunn. They would go to a convenience store together on East 63rd Street and South Martin Luther King Drive. Here, Von would go inside the store whilst White White waited outside. At this point, a gunman pulls up, shooting White White in the back, with a police officer on the scene even returning fire and hitting the shooter, who ultimately managed to escape. White White would be pronounced dead in the early hours of the morning on August the 9th, 2012. This date just so happened to be King Von's 18th birthday. This was a devastating incident for Von, who would tweet numerous times about the murder of his friend Whitey, including this one where he said that he had just bought Whitey a pill and gone inside the store, only coming back outside to find a crowd surrounding his shot friend and at first believing that Whitey would be okay. After this, Von would tweet messages saying that this killing is what led him to act out, and in the days following, he would be pledging to kill his enemies publicly. Von later elaborated on his mindset around this period in his song Demon, saying outright that witnessing the death of his close friend Whitey on his 18th birthday is the exact thing that turned him into a demon. And Von would rap that after this, him and his right-hand man T-Roy would be doing hits back-to-back to avenge this tragic loss. Von would apparently be trying to kill much more ruthlessly after this.
So y'all, I wanted to mute it for a minute because I also want to put this disclaimer up. But I did not know that King Von name meant demon. Did y'all catch that? I did not know that. Like, I'm looking like, I don't know. I guess because that's not his full name, you know. That's his street name or what he went by, you know, as an entertainer, a storyteller, as they call it. Yeah, I did not know that. I'm gonna go back to it. Let me show you if y'all didn't catch that. me see where it go.
Most ruthless killers.
Here's one thing you need to do before buying anything online. Don't spend another dime on Amazon until you watch this.
Chicago drill veteran Tay Capone would tell 16 Shot and Visuals in an interview that if you hung around King Von in 2012, you simply had to accept that you would be in shootouts.
If you was hanging with Von, you had to accept everything that came with Von. You had to accept that you was gonna be in shootings, accept that it was gonna be that, and you had to be with it. You feel me? With Von.
King Von was on a mission in 2012 to get revenge for the friends that he had lost to the gang war. Losing OD, Platoon, and White White turned him into a demon, he said. So he would spend every day in the streets of Chicago stalking his ops and broadcasting his activities on Twitter for the whole world to see. On September the 6th, 2012, Von would get arrested, even taking selfies for Twitter inside of the cop car. He would post pictures of him and his partner in crime, T. Roy, dubbing themselves the O-Block Savages. In fact, after posting one picture together, one woman from O-Block even suggested that Von and T. Roy stop being photographed together in case somebody sends it to the police. Von would tweet how him and T. Roy's names were ringing in the streets and that people were praising them for doing their thing, regularly using this as a catchphrase to refer to his drilling, tweeting warnings to the ops that he's about to go on their block and do his thingy thing, telling them that they have 2 hours to clear the streets and promising to blast them on sight. Von would even reflect on a conversation that he had had with T. Roy, saying that they can't die soon because they know they're going to hell for all the bad things they had done in the streets. Von would even openly tweet about shooting up Dunbar High School around this time. And unsurprisingly, he would continue to be in the eyes of the law, being picked up in October for battery. But little did the police know just how serious Von's crimes were about to get in the coming weeks. On the 13th of October 2012, Von tweeted that he is about to pop these pills and spaz out on somebody, expressing frustration that he hasn't taken anybody down for a while and saying that he's getting dry, perhaps a tweet with a double meaning that could refer to sex or murder. That very same day, Von would tweet that his ops party tonight is getting cancelled. Later, Von is tweeting asking for somebody to come and get him. And 30 minutes later, Von tweets simply, "Ha," followed by 45 Glock me. That very night of October the 13th, 2012, Modell, that same teen who had found the body of his cousin King Doc dead just 6 months before, would be walking down the street with another one of his cousins on their way to meet a girl. When just before 9:30 p.m., somebody approached them on foot, opening fire. Modell would be shot in the chest and later pronounced dead in hospital. No one was ever charged with this murder or attempted murder, but many years later, police documents would be released revealing that King Von himself was positively identified by a witness as the shooter, with T. Roy apparently at the scene too. This meant that King Von was the prime suspect in the murder. And not only that, but King Von would tweet immediately after the killing. Now, it's important to remember that Twitter timestamps run on Universal Coordinated Time. That's the same as UK time, and that's where I'm reading these tweets from, which is 6 hours ahead of Chicago time. So for me to get the exact time of a tweet that was made by King Von or KI or somebody else in Chicago, I have to take the time that it shows on Twitter and -6. I'm telling you this because Modell was shot around 9:30 p.m. That means that King Von tweeted who died about 17 minutes after the murder of Modell took place. And that tweet was followed by yet another one reading, "It's not safe around our way," which came less than an hour after the shooting. And Von's who died tweet would provoke responses from somebody who even knew Modell, with Von saying that the dead person is somebody that they know. In addition to that exchange, the female shooter from Tuckerville, KI, would end up getting arrested not long after this for apparently shooting indiscriminately into O-Block, hoping to kill anybody in retaliation for Modell. None of this seemed to bother King Von, however, as he clearly got a lot of satisfaction out of having seemingly killed again. The day after the murder of Modell, Von would tweet that him and T. Roy have a problem and that they can't stop doing their thingy thing. Von would tweet that the streets are in trouble when he's coming, and he would brush off the cops' attempts to arrest him. In fact, only 2 days after the killing, he would get into an argument with a well-known Tuckerville GD known as Wooski on Twitter. Wooski had inferred that he had been out looking to catch Von that day, asking him where they were at, with Von leaving a heartless reply saying that he was getting t-shirts made for Modell's funeral. Unsurprisingly, Von would find himself on the radar of the police following the murder of Modell, getting picked up for unlawful possession of a firearm and being questioned in October 2012, with Von later tweeting that the cops grabbed him and warned him to be careful. Apparently the cops even told Von that when they questioned their ops, they all talk about him and T-Roy, suggesting that their names are feared in the streets. Von would even tweet after that his own mother was beginning to hear the rumors about his violent behavior in the streets, and she was trying to put him on punishment. But Von wasn't deterred, and he kept using Twitter to increase his reputation as a killer. The following month, Von would be sending unprovoked Twitter ats at Wooski, asking if he knew who killed Modell, provoking responses from numerous ops who wanted to see Von dead, including Wooski and KI. And to me, this is where we see King Von really beginning to take pleasure in killing. For years to come, he would tweet mocking Modell, saying it's messed up what happened to him and that he's a straight sucker. It's this sort of behavior where I believe that Von crosses the line from a normal gangbanger killing to survive to a full-blown serial killer who is taking the lives of others systemically for his own personal gratification. At this point, Von has already satisfied the conditions of being a serial killer, having allegedly killed more than 3 people in different locations with large periods of time in between the killings. And his tweets express a clear tendency to take pleasure in killing and a desire to show the world what he's doing. In a way, King Von's purpose in life at this point in time wasn't just revenge and murder for sport. It was about doing these crimes and giving the world clues about what he had done. And as the story goes on, you'll see King Von constantly hint towards his crimes on social media, in his music, and even on television. But now, the pattern had emerged, and Von clearly had a thirst for blood. He was becoming a talented shooter and not facing any consequences for these crimes. And so, in the coming months, Von would be rumored to have been connected to at least 3 more murders, with the police only catching up to him when it was too late.
Who's ready to hatch some cool pets? Click here to make your very own monster.
In late 2012, Von was earning a reputation as a feared shooter in the Chicago gang wars, something he would be more than happy to broadcast to the world. Von would be seen in clips posted to social media, sliding in cars with his partner in crime T-Roy and others, throwing up gang signs and saying that they're smoking Tuka.
Yeah. Let me see. Yeah. Look.
Tico. Both of the Shadels.
And he'd be seen with his boys mobbing deep in trap houses. And Von would even broadcast his activities rolling with the gang to the local store. Von was surprisingly open about his gangbanging life on social media, and he would be particularly active on Twitter during these violent months. He would tweet openly that he was planning to shoot at random people in traffic. He would tweet that he is STLK, or a St. Lawrence Killer, and interestingly, around these times, on the 18th of October 2012, O-Block native Chief Keef would release his hit song Love Sosa, a legendary Chicago drill anthem with lyrics about killing people for disrespecting O-Block. At this point in 2012, Chief Keef had become a global rap star off the back of his single I Don't Like, which was given an all-star remix by Kanye West, and ended up landing at number 73 on the Billboard charts. That song had lyrics about the gang wars in Chicago and lives being lost, and Chief Keef's music was becoming legendary for painting a picture of reality on Chicago's most dangerous block. Of course, who could forget Chief Keef's classic anthem 300, a song with lines all about the young'uns on his block gunning people down, and a track that made it famous to diss Tuka, with Black Disciple rappers beginning a trend of saying that they're smoking on Tuka, a sign of disrespect to Shondale Gregory, who had been killed in 2011. Now, King Von himself had an interesting relationship with Chief Keef's music. Von would tweet that him and T-Roy are the real-life people who these rappers are making their songs about. Von seemed proud of his career as a real gangster, the true story behind Chicago drill music. In fact, it seemed from his tweets that he took great pride in this. He would regularly quote lyrics from drill songs by Chief Keef and others, and he would continue with tweets expressing his intentions to shoot up the ops. In one, he says he just got a new gun and can't wait to use it, and he even claimed in one tweet to have shot a woman by mistake trying to shoot at a man, ending the tweet saying, "I don't care, same thing to me." It seemed that Von really had to tweet pretty much any street activity that he was involved in during this time. He would tweet that he hasn't touched or seen a revolver in a while, and on October the 29th, Von would tweet saying that he was avoiding T-Roy because he was winning, presumably referring to T-Roy having a superior kill counter. So Von would tweet literally saying that he was trying to catch up with T-Roy's kill counter, saying, "Give me until Friday." And just the day after this tweet, he would find what he was looking for. On October the 30th, Von would tweet that it's his main man T-Roy's birthday. And later that day, Von tweeted that he was drilling like OD. At 8:45 a.m., Von tweeted, "Check the stats," a reference to who has the most bodies in the ongoing gang war. According to the police, less than 30 minutes after this tweet was made, at around 9:13 a.m., P5, aka Crack, real name Derek Johnson, would be shot multiple times in the 6200 block of South Eberhart Avenue. The 23-year-old was rushed to the hospital, but pronounced dead at 9:54 a.m. The incident report would record the time of the shooting as 9:13 a.m. in the Chicago time zone, which on Twitter, for me, would display as 3:13 p.m. That means that just 3 minutes before the recorded time of the shooting, Von tweeted, "Laughing my ass off." Then, at 9:13, the time that the police estimated the shooting took place, Von tweets, "His 45 makes his ass do 40 flips." And then, only a few hours after this early morning murder, just after noon, Von would tweet the early bird catches the worm, and then going on to tweet about ops making the news, saying that he does his thingy thang for real, saying that he erases people like he drew them, and tweeting that his ops aren't trying to win like he is, and saying that he is doing this for OD, Platoon, Sherroid, and White Wine. Von would claim to be finding a lot of things funny that evening, once again tweeting numerous times that his 40 made someone do 40 flips. As the days went by, Von's tweets would get even more bold. Just the day after the murder, he would tweet pondering whether he was messed up in the head and indicating that he thinks he's gone crazy. Things would get even more incriminating just 2 days later when Von put out a tweet reading, "Damn, Modell got killed in October, and Crack, who's going to get killed in November? Stay tuned." And he would tweet RIP Crack and Modell, as well as tweeting asking when the funeral is. Von would even reply to KI and Wooski, who tweeted each other about going to a funeral, with Von saying that he was on his way too, and even offering them a ride. Von also tweeted at Wooski asking if he knows who made Modell World or Crack Crew, another reference to crews renaming themselves after a fallen member who's passed away. Now at this point, Von is establishing a clear pattern, getting the location of his targets, shooting them dead, and then celebrating publicly on Twitter. And within only a few weeks of the P5 incident, yet another high-profile murder would take place, with Von's involvement having been debatable, but his Twitter account telling a very different story.
Okay, y'all, I'm gonna pause it for a minute because I need to add this disclaimer. You know, so what's going on? We got Angel in the building. Oh, beautiful child of God, and Miss Lisa Love, the notorious Big Cheese, Troy in the building. What's going on, y'all? We definitely about to finish on up. I just want to be able to add this on here. We need this right here, you know what I mean? Not this one, but right here. Big boost, there you go, baby. There you go. I knew it was somebody else, but I'm sitting up here. I had to stop looking at the chat. I just want to put that up there real quick. It's going to run out fast, so I'm trying to pause it so it can at least just be up there for a little minute. It is sit up there. I got to see how I can download it. I'm going to have to download it from off my phone or see how I can do it real quick. But I ain't going to worry about it right now. I just at least want to put it up here. She said that she been there. I'm sorry, boo. I know you had said that you was you say you had just got in or you was still at work or something like that, and that you was listening. I was just going out the folks that I remember seeing, because that was in the beginning of the video. Okay, let's get up out of here. Let's go back here. Let me get that up off of there. And we're going to get back to it, y'all. I know you've been there. I know. I already know. She said, don't forget about me. So it's like, don't do that. We ain't doing that one. Here we go, y'all.
In November 2012, King Von would be tweeting openly about killing. He'd say that he was the go-to guy for hits in his area. He'd also say that he was the captain of the drill team, tweeting about murder and homicide, saying that he's a hitter by himself, and that the whole of O-Block are coming for their ops. He would even tweet that he was sacrificing people, as well as bizarre tweets about how much he liked cereal, something that I personally believe was a coded message indicating that Von was beginning to see himself as a serial killer, something that he would continue to do throughout his career. From here, Von would continue tweeting about wanting to shoot his ops in the face and get up close and personal, alluding to committing murder and tweeting that he had big balls and does things that other people would only dream of doing. King Von would boldly tweet that he will never get convicted of a murder, saying that he would never set himself up to go down for a body. He would mock his ops, saying some make it out alive and some make it onto the news and die. Also during this time, Von would even react to Barack Obama winning the 2012 election, something ironic considering the fact that Michelle Obama apparently also hailed from O-Block. But even in celebrating this monumental news, Von would also tweet that a black president with ties to his city simply wouldn't stop him from killing.
Whoever was not listening or have left the chat and probably came back, because y'all please go and follow Chi-Town Talks on Facebook. I put the link in the chat. I will repost the link in the chat. Please go follow Chi-Town Talks on Facebook.
Killing his ops. On November the 7th, 2012, Von would tweet about bodies dropping and beating the case. Later that evening, he would tweet that he was out sliding with T. Roy, who he himself would also tweet saying that he's about to go and get his gun, before replying to KI, who had just tweeted a list of a bunch of names of people associated with O-Block who had been killed, with T. Roy retaliating, providing his own list of people from KI's hood who they had apparently killed, as well as tweeting #bang just after midnight. Then, the following morning, the news would report on the shooting of a 17-year-old by the name of Rodney Stewart, aka Boss Trell. Boss Trell had been found with a gunshot wound to the head around 6:50 a.m. and was immediately rushed to hospital. And he would even remain alive for several hours, during which time he was visited by friends from the neighborhood like FBG Cash. But while Boss Trell was in the hospital fighting for his life, Von and T-Roy would be tweeting. T-Roy tweeted "man down" only hours after the body was discovered, with Von tweeting #thestruggle, prompting T-Roy to infer that Von was behaving like the police. Von would follow up on this tweet, saying that people aren't dying on time, and T-Roy would also tweet mockingly, saying "no, Trell, stay alive." Then, in since-deleted tweets, allegedly by King Von, he would suggest that he had actually spent the day trying to get KI on the phone. However, Boss Trell would be pronounced dead that night at 11:30 p.m. on the 8th of November 2012. And the following day, King Von would take to Twitter once again to mock Boss Trell and his ops. He would tweet that STL doesn't stand for St. Lawrence, but instead for steady taking L's. Another tweet would drop with King Von telling people, "Don't worry about who killed who, just be glad that you didn't get killed and shut up." This was followed by another tweet aimed at Boss Trell, saying, "Lol, you ain't a boss to me." Many theories suggested that T-Roy and Von, and possibly others, were involved in this murder. Some have said that it was T-Roy, others have said that it's Von, or potentially even the two of them together. But it is worth mentioning that there's an alternative theory that Boss Trell was actually murdered by someone completely unrelated to this feud, who was apparently trying to retrieve a gun that had been taken from him. But regardless of who was responsible, Von and T-Roy were certainly happy to see Boss Trell gone, and they would continue to tweet boldly about it publicly. Their ops on Twitter would warn T-Roy over the disrespect, but for King Von, tweeting about the murders going on in the streets was a must. Von would post saying that the ops are dying frequently and that he doesn't plan on slowing down. He would say that he will kill an op anywhere, and once again reference cereal, saying that he eats cereal after shooting people, another hint in the ongoing joke that Von is indeed becoming a serial killer. Von would even mock the ops for having funerals. He simply didn't care what anybody thought. It seemed that Von was hell-bent on killing his enemies, and he would be hell-bent on tweeting every single time something negative occurred in the streets. However, Von's days would be numbered, and following the next hit that he was implicated in, he would tweet once again, perhaps a little too recklessly this time, finding himself behind bars for over a year.
If you need insurance from a change in life, like you left your job, got a husband or wife, if you turn 26, and your folks plan to healthcare that.
Okay, Boost, you said you can't comment. Do you see the YouTube video that we streaming right now? Do you see that video on there? Because it has a comment section right there. So just let me know and keep me posted. Yeah, just let me know in the comments and keep me posted. Let me know what it says.
After the deaths of Modell, P5, and Bosch Trell, you would think that King Von would have kept a low profile, but no. He would continue to tweet suspiciously while the killing continued. However, when the next person lost their life, King Von's tweets would go to a whole nother level of self-incrimination, and he would actually find himself on the wrong side of the law. On the 19th of November 2012, 32-year-old man named James Holman, aka Lil James, would be standing on his porch on the 6000 block of South Michigan Avenue around 8:20 p.m. At this point, 4 people would approach his property, opening fire, shooting him in both the arm and chest, with him being pronounced dead in hospital less than an hour later. Only 23 minutes after this murder, Von would tweet, "Man, not on anything," followed by another tweet reading, "Clown ass." Von was mocking somebody, but we didn't know who or what for. Meanwhile, T-Roy would put out a tweet asking if somebody got shot yesterday. And then, only 6 hours after the shooting, Von would tweet that he kills GDs often. And then, in another rare deleted tweet that somebody else from O-Block quote tweeted just 21 minutes later, Von would apparently brag that he has killed 5 GDs and shot 10. With a later news article even confirming that James Holman, the man who was killed most recently, was indeed a gangster disciple. Furthermore, a police report on the Lil James murder would describe the shooter's height and build, which apparently matched Von's description. Now, Von tweeting that he had killed 5 GDs after the death of Lil James is particularly interesting, because there's always been a lot of speculation on exactly how many people Von had killed, who specifically he was responsible for killing. And at this point in time, Von had been associated with 6 murders in total. So if Von himself is apparently confessing that he has killed 5 people at this point, then it's likely that just one of these murders he had nothing to do with. From here, Von would continue to tweet throughout the day, saying things like "dissing him will get your people killed," and another asking openly who made Crack Block, another reference to the murder of Crack, or P5. Unsurprisingly, the authorities would catch up with Von just 3 days after the murder of Lil James. Perhaps they'd read his tweets. Von's capture would be confirmed by a tweet from his sister from his own Twitter account saying that he would be in jail for Thanksgiving, with Von's charges later being revealed as unlawful possession of a firearm. Numerous mugshots of Von would later circulate online, and Von would end up in jail for over a year, for a period spanning from November 2012 to February 2014. And in the meantime, his mother, sister, and friends would all tweet from his Twitter account calling for Von's freedom and keeping his name alive. However, Von's sister would also tweet that Von told her that when he gets out of jail, he's just planning on killing more people. And ultimately, none of the more serious charges would even stick to Von, and he would eventually end up being released back onto the streets of O-Block, where he would, as expected, immediately get back to doing what he loved, drilling and then tweeting about it. King Von's sister would announce from his Twitter account on February the 11th, 2014 that he would be home from jail tomorrow, with footage of Von cutting off his ankle monitor and throwing up gang signs circulating online after his release. When he got back out, he would be back on the streets and involving himself in gang politics once again. His first tweet out was dissing the ops, of course. He would also openly wonder where T-Roy went, as apparently his partner in crime had ended up in jail himself during this time. Also upon his release, Von would also tweet at famous names in the Chicago drill scene like Boss Top, Lil Reese, Chief Keef, E-Day, Rondo Number 9, and Capo. He would then go on to diss 2 people that he allegedly killed, Modell and Crack, but at least initially, it didn't appear that Von was able to commit any more acts of violence, because apparently, following his release, he would wind up on house arrest for a short period. But that didn't stop him from posting pictures of himself at home, dissing Tuka with a gun sticking out of his pocket. Pictures of Von with famous BD hitters like T-Roy and D-Rose would circulate around this time, with the likes of Chief Keef even reposting them as a sign of respect for the most feared local shooters. With Von also sharing pictures of his crew to Twitter openly, with the caption simply reading, "gang members." Von would also tweet about it being a very scary year for the ops, even tweeting disrespectful collages featuring photographs of rivals who had been killed recently. Von didn't care one bit what he was posting on Twitter. And honestly, it didn't seem like the police cared either. Von tweeted openly that he will kill someone on St. Lawrence, promising to shoot ops in the face and kill them fast, dropping mocking tweets about people he had allegedly killed like Modell. He would pledge to drop even more bodies, even tweeting that he was shooting as soon as he got off house arrest, and tweeting that he just got a new gun and he wanted to do a drive-by with it. Now, on March the 25th, 2014, GD rapper Lil Mark, associated with a crew called 051, would drop a song called No Competition. This would be a remix of Black Disciple rappers Lil Durk and Lil Reese's 2013 song Competition. Lil Mark would essentially use Lil Durk's beat to diss him and his OTF crew from Lamron. But it wasn't just Durk that was getting dissed. Lil Mark would diss numerous people associated with the Black Disciples, including people from both O Block and an affiliated crew of BDs known as 600. Lil Mark's song would mock O.D. Perry and J Money and see him rapping openly that he is a Black Disciple killer, as well as proudly repping his affiliations to his gang set 051 Young Money. This song made Lil Mark a huge target for both O Block and 600. And around this period, King Von would frequently tweet that he was in traffic, riding around the city, armed and looking for ops to kill. On March the 28th, 2014, Von would tweet that he was in traffic, tagging D Rose, an infamous shooter from the O Block affiliated set 600, with D Rose himself tweeting that the cops hate to see Von, T-Roy, and him all together. Von would tweet gunshot emojis around 10 a.m. on the 28th of March 2014. And only a few hours later, that very same day, around 1:30 p.m., it's believed that a large group of gang members were riding around in a silver minivan with Florida license plates, most likely a stolen car. Meanwhile, a 20-year-old Mark Campbell, aka Lil Mark, was at a bus stop on the 300 block of East 51st Street. It's believed that that minivan pulled up and a masked man jumped out, shooting Lil Mark in the head, with Mark ultimately being pronounced dead at the scene only minutes later at 1:41 p.m. And that minivan connected to the shooting.
So I'm gonna pause it a little bit so y'all can be able to read the screen if you can see it. If y'all can't see it, just let me know and then I'll just keep going with the video.
Being found in flames at 6:30 p.m. that very night. It's widely believed that D Rose was the shooter, with King Von being present for this murder. D Rose even posted a clip to social media of him and his friends returning to the scene of the crime and filming, where King Von can allegedly be heard in the background of the car.
Hey, it's a 251st. Damn, body down.
With over 200 flavor notes, every sip of Woodford Reserve Bourbon
Body down, 51st gang.
D Rose would tweet, call them, never heard of them, with a laughing face just 36 minutes after the killing. King Von would tweet, just 42 minutes after the shooting, die why, with a bunch of laughing faces, with this being a sign of disrespect to Lil Mark's gang 051 Young Money. That tweet was then followed by Von saying 051 better keep their head up, with a bunch of laughing emojis. Then he says he lives for this, F the ops. And just in case there was any doubt about King Von being present for that murder, he would also reply to somebody on Twitter.
So as y'all can see, this basically, and this was going on in 2014, y'all. So this basically is like what these kids be sitting up here doing. They be beefing. They use Twitter and Facebook and all these social media platforms to communicate with one another, to communicate with their ops, and to brag about what they do on the streets. Like, y'all see how this is going on. Like, everything is through social media. They use these platforms, in the same way that they be out here on these streets. It's the same way they use these platforms. This is how they encourage one another. This is how they throw their threats. This is how they, they incite on the violence that they choose to get ready to do, or how they threaten each other. This is how they use it, and they still doing this to this day, literally.
To discussing Lil Mark, saying outright he just saw the murder, with King Von going on to tweet at other O Block affiliates that they would be celebrating that night. Von was speaking so recklessly on Twitter, his sister would even tell him to go in the house, with the defiant Von replying to her with gunshot and demon emojis, then tweeting that Lil Mark's death was getting him attention from women, even going as far to say that Lil Mark's pregnant girlfriend might have cheated on him. Followed by another tweet a few days later where Von claimed that he leaves people dead at the bus stop just like Tuka, a tweet that's even more disrespectful when you learn that Lil Mark was actually Tuka's older brother. D Rose would also tweet the day after the murder saying you ain't gotta ask who shot him, indicating that he was indeed the shooter of Lil Mark, as well as proudly saying that he was smoking on Marco. But Von and D Rose weren't the only ones celebrating the death of Lil Mark, because Lil Durk, the original subject of Lil Mark's diss song No Competition, released just 3 days before he was killed, would end up making a trip to the very bus stop where Mark was gunned down, with Durk telling his followers that this was a very...
So, I know everybody familiar with Lil Durk. Everybody should be familiar with Lil Durk. If you know anybody in Chicago, you didn't heard of Lil Durk. So eventually, Lil Durk and King Von had, they ended up collabing together at some point. Lil Durk is not from the same set as King Von. I don't know why people kept on, trying to make it seem like they was from the same set. They wasn't from the same neighborhood, is what I mean by set. I guess they met through a mutual friend. I'm not too sure. I'm just going to say allegedly they met through a mutual friend or whatever. And then they became close. Durk was already working on his music at the time. At some point in his life, he was still like a little hustler up in the street during his time. But I believe he was still working on his music at the same time. But once him and Von became close, that's when they started to collab with their music. As we all know, King Von is gone, but Lil Durk, he's one of the biggest hip hop celebrities that's going on right now.
Special place.
Hey, this bus stop right here though, this a real famous place, you hear me? This is a real famous place, big. Hey, this bus stop, this is a real famous place, big. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Because of all of the attention from rappers about this incident, Lil Mark's death became news beyond the local Chicago papers, with this killing taking place during the heyday of DJ Academic's War in Chiraq series, where Academics would report satirically on the Chicago drill scene and the shocking crimes going on within it. King Von himself would even go on to rap about killing people at bus stops many years later, as well as on the song Exposing Me, where he says that he is smoking Lil Mark and Tuka. And Lil Durk would go on to do the same thing, rapping in the December 2014 track War with E-Day 600, also saying that he is smoking Lil Mark and Tuka. Now, it's never been definitively confirmed who killed Lil Mark, but it's widely believed that the two most likely hitters are D Rose or King Von. But whether or not King Von actually did it, he clearly got a lot of gratification.
Y'all also can see, do you see these tweets? King Von sitting up here tweeted, "I live for this. The ops on O Block." So basically he's saying he lived to, like they really think that this stuff was a game, like counting bodies that they actually took was like a game to them. Who can get the most bodies, or who got the most bodies up under their name, basically had the most juice, or their reputation was a lot more higher than the next, basically. But this is what they do. They go and they go and post and give they ops a warning. They laugh about it, they joke about it, and then once they then succeeded by unaliving whoever it was that they intended on unaliving, they come back to social media. Most of the time it's Twitter or Instagram, and they post stuff like this to mock it.
From just witnessing this murder, further fueling this strange bloodlust that he was cultivating around this time. If he wasn't the one killing, then he would at least want a front row seat and an opportunity to tweet about it. However, it would be the next murder that would seemingly be Von's most proud moment in the streets, because he would end up...
Hey Doris, thank you for coming. It's nice to see that you made it. I appreciate you, honey. Let me read what Miss Angel said. Y'all please welcome Miss Doris. Please welcome Miss Doris in the chat. Miss Angel say, I love this man's detail about O-Block and such, but I feel some type of way with him being not one of us. Yeah. But so far he haven't said a lie yet. So I give it to him, because I tried to find one, that's probably like from somebody within the area, or just a local YouTuber or something like that. But their videos were so short, it was like they was not going into enough detail for folks that really don't know about Chicago or have never heard about King Von. So I needed something way more detailed than like a 30-minute video. And we might not even finish this entire video. It just really depends on y'all. But because I still have to show the video of K.I. in the part that King Von played with her. So it all comes together. You know what I mean? That's why I tried to go live a little earlier today, because whoever is interested, they most definitely can stay. You're more than welcome. But who's not going to be able to stay, it's fine. The video will still be up. Okay, let's get back to it.
Finally catching somebody who he had wanted to get for years, leaving clues on Twitter all the way up to the killing. And then, in an insanely twisted turn, not only would Von get away with the murder, but he would go on to appear in a documentary interview about the victim without anybody even working out that the killer that they were looking for was sitting right in front of the camera.
Hard Mountain Dew with 5% alcohol.
17-year-old gangster disciple Jakira Barnes, aka K.I., was a legendary figure in Chicago gang history, with the Chicago Sun-Times describing her in a prominent feature as a prolific female assassin in the Chicago gang war. K.I. has been described as the real-life Snoop from The Wire, a reference to the masculine female killer from HBO's crime drama. K.I. herself had been close with Tuka growing up, and her rumored involvement in the killing of O.D. Perry in retaliation would make her feud with O-Block deeply personal. No doubt, King Von was obsessed with K.I. Von and K.I. would have extensive back and forths on Twitter, with it being unclear whether he was trying to date her or kill her. Their first interaction occurred on September the 25th, 2012, when Von would tweet claiming to have beaten up an op girl on the train, with K.I. replying to this saying their arm, ear and face were injured, but she's not bothered because her gun will put a hole in her ops faces, with the tweet the following day indicating that she had perhaps shot at Von or somebody that he knows. They would go on to have a back and forth, with Von asking K.I. if she's a gangster or a bitch, with K.I. indicating that she is indeed a real gangster. Von would go on to reply to her posts shouting out her gang, asking her why he never sees her when he spins the block, with K.I. replying that Von can die just like White White, with Von saying she better kill him because he will kill her and she doesn't have the good aim like he does. That same day, K.I. would tell her followers to retweet if they think she looks good. King Von retweeted it. K.I. would tweet saying that she'd beaten up someone from O-Block and that they should go and tell Von that she is tough. This would prompt a reply from Von, where he would say he can tell that she's tough, and jokingly asking her if she's looking for a boyfriend, as well as expressing doubt that she had even beat up his friend, with her replying saying she'd caught an O-Block member on the train who had denied being from there when beaten up, with King Von's sister chiming in claiming to have been there too, and K.I. saying that her victim didn't even punch her back. All this provoked a sarcastic reply from Von, where he said that he thinks he was falling in love with this fighting female. Von would later post tweets where he said that he's going to treat her right if she becomes his wifey, and later beginning to regularly refer to her as wifey. When K.I. replied to Von, Von would say that he has her on his mind a lot and that he misses her, even telling his sister that he wanted to marry K.I. Now, many years later, somebody on 4chan would claim to have hacked K.I.'s private DMs on Twitter, and revealing that around this time, Von had DM'd K.I. asking her if she wanted to hook up, or more specifically saying he wants to nail her. She would reply saying she's not interested, to which Von replies, when all of this is over, he will have her. More alleged tweets would see K.I. asking Von straight up if O-Block are plotting to kill her, to which Von replies, he's not gonna lie, there are people.
Okay, y'all, so if y'all haven't, I sent you, Lisa. I'm gonna drop it in a minute. I got to do it on my phone. But right now he's talking about the disputes that King Von and K.I. was having. I believe this may be either on Instagram or on Twitter. Most it probably just be on Instagram, because a lot of these young folks, they be using more Instagram than anything. So y'all kind of listen to this because it'll help throughout the other video if you all still be here to watch it.
Looking to kill her. But Von would say he doesn't think he can kill her because he thinks she seems cool as hell, even having the nerve to ask her when she's going to stop gangbanging. K.I. would reply saying she's not going to stop, calling King Von a goofy and asking him when he's going to stop. Von would laugh and tell her that he's gangbanging until he dies and that he will never lose or quit, with K.I. ultimately agreeing with this and saying that she's planning the same thing, before mocking Von, saying he must feel really threatened by her and
I'm giving y'all some time to read if y'all want to. Because he go pretty fast about it and he really just, you know, skimming through what they saying. So I'm going to keep going.
And questioning if he really thinks they can kill her. Von replies saying that they're trying to kill anyone, they're not just desperate for her specifically, before revealing that he had apparently had his gun on him when he beat her up on the train, but saying he didn't kill her because the police were there along with a woman from his block, with Von saying that if he really wanted to kill her, he would have took his chances and shot her in the train or the street. In response to this, K.I. would reply, "Come and get it," because she's ready to go to war with anyone, with Von clapping back, questioning why she takes things so seriously. After this alleged private exchange, Von would reply to a public tweet of hers dissing O.D. Perry and reminding her that he beat her up, even saying that he wishes he'd spat on her afterwards. Now, Von began to use K.I. pretty much for entertainment, beefing her on Twitter whenever he was bored, but K.I. would be looking for Von in real life, however. Von would tweet that he has his ops scared at the corner store, and K.I. would reply saying that she's on the way looking for him. Also tweeting asking where he is, with Von replying sarcastically telling her to be safe in the streets. More alleged leaked DMs between K.I. and Von would emerge, with K.I. asking Von where he was, with the two of them seemingly arranging a shootout, with K.I. even asking if T-Roy can come too. K.I. later claimed to have walked through O-Block and not seen a soul, with Von saying that they're too busy to have a shootout right now. Von would later allegedly DM K.I., telling her to call him when she's ready to put a dress on and let her hair down. They'd keep going back and forth on Twitter publicly, building up this insane public history. K.I. tweeted that she was going to the store, and Von would warn her not to. Von would tweet reminding her that he had beaten her up on the train, with her saying that he's been hiding ever since. Von would clap back, asking when she's coming back to his block for a date, and K.I. would then remind Von of all the times that people from her side had beaten him up. Other O-Block members would tweet their intentions to kill K.I. too, and she would tweet that she wants to see King Von face to face. Von would reply, she really doesn't. One tweet would see Von say that he'd spent all day trying to get K.I. on the phone and that her voice sounded sexy.
Remind you, y'all, my youngest son is 17. So his peers is who they actually go by. It's who they follow. King Von, you know, like he was a mentor to them. Like these kids really went by this guy. So it's hard to try to, you know, you wonder why it's a lot of violence and all this and that. Well, you see who was actually, you know, made themselves a part of the environment of where our kids is growing up. Like they looked after this boy. It's crazy. Let me pause this. Okay. I just don't want it to go. So I've been educating my son, you know, about everything that's going on once I learned what's actually have been going on, because you know, that's not my thing. I don't really listen to all of that stuff, but my son, you know, and his little age group, and when I hear him playing all this type of music and stuff like that, I'm like, who is this and who is that? You know, you get to ask some questions. You know, I know about the neighborhoods and stuff like that within the inner city of Chicago, you know, no matter what side it is. But I'm just not a person that follow the current hip hop, you know, at this time. So, you know, my son pretty much educated me on a lot of stuff when it had to do with these artists and neighborhood guys who actually influence our younger generation. So once I say I probably started getting to know who King Von was when him and Dirt actually connected, and when they started making music, you know, and I heard them like on the radio together. That's when I started getting like, you know, pretty much a little interested about what's going on, because you want to know what your kids is listening to. But I just did not know what was actually going on or why the cause of so much violence throughout this entire time. I just knew what areas I didn't want my son at and what areas that you would not catch me at. And that's basically the areas where these little youngsters right here that we looking at on this video is where they from. And you see all the violence that they was sitting up here that was going on throughout that time frame. So here we go, y'all.
In jail, with Von's sister later suggesting that she had even had a fist fight with K.I. and saying that she will see her on 63rd, perhaps for another fight. When Von was released from jail in 2014, he would tweet at K.I. and ask if she missed him, with her replying, asking when they're meeting up, and adding 4 gun emojis, with Von expressing disappointment that K.I. didn't come and see him in jail like he'd asked. Now, bear in mind, tweeting at K.I. was one of the first things that Von did upon getting out of jail. He tweeted her twice before he had tweeted at Chief Keef or any of his actual friends from O-Block. He was obsessed, but K.I. would continue to mock Von, asking him how it felt for his friends to die while he was in jail, even retweeting Von's own tweet saying "Rest in peace, J Money," and going on to insult him in a tweet of her own. This was a reference to Von's friend J Money from O-Block, who had been killed in September 2013 whilst he was in jail, with Von retaliating, saying "Rest in piss" to Crack and Modell, with Von even later tweeting that he can't be mad at women unless they're ops, in which case they can die, and another tweet saying how desperate he was to catch a female op. Von and K.I. would tweet at each other much less in 2014, perhaps because Von was looking to reduce the paper trail leading to him if K.I. wound up dead. But in the days following Little Mark's death in April 2014, Von would release some brazen tweets. On the 1st of April, he would tell a friend that he would never start rapping and that he prefers killing ops, and tweeting that he had bodies on his gun. On the 6th of April, K.I. would tweet saying, "People won't get the picture until you put them in the frame," along with a gun emoji. That same day, Von would tweet saying, "If you're not where I'm from, you will get killed." That was followed the next day by Von tweeting that he was always looking for a woman and he can't find her, and saying he will stop looking and let her look for him. He would then go on to tweet on the 10th of April that there's some women he would do anything for, telling her to just hit his line. That would be followed by another tweet saying if a girl leaves him, then she's leaving the best, with it unclear if he's talking about her leaving him or her leaving this earth. That was followed by more tweets where Von would say if a girl is with the ops, then she's getting shot, and that he's not playing with op girls this summer and they should watch out. In the early hours of the next morning, K.I. would make the ominous tweet, "In the end, we die," as well as tweeting her apparent location just off 63rd. And later that afternoon, K.I. would be standing on a nearby porch in the 6400 block of South Eberhard Avenue, only a 3-minute walk towards O-Block from the location that she had tweeted she was at earlier that day.
So do y'all see this? The little girl K.I., and that's her story is next. But the little girl K.I. literally puts an address on Twitter for them to meet her. And y'all see the little map. Y'all see the short distance literally is walking distance, 3 minutes away from each other. It's crazy.
And that was the day that King Von would allegedly find that woman that he had been looking for all this time, as K.I. would indeed be gunned down on April the 11th, 2014. The murder report on K.I.'s death would feature a witness describing the shooter who hopped out of a car, catching K.I. and another man who were about to shoot dice. They would run into a gangway, but the shooter kept firing, apparently even shouting, "Yeah, bitch-ass N-words," as he fired the handgun at K.I. multiple times. She would be shot 9 times and declared dead just 2 hours later.
For Chantel Brown, the statistics are more than just numbers. Within 12 short hours across Chicago, 14 people were wounded, 2 people killed, one of them being Brown's oldest child.
I'm just going to miss her presence. She was a very, very beautiful, well-known, lovely girl.
17-year-old Jakira Barnes loved basketball, her friends, and being with family. It's still under investigation what exactly happened Friday afternoon in the 6400 block of South Eberhard, but neighbors say Barnes and a friend were walking along the sidewalk when a gunman started firing.
When the bullet hit, it was so powerful, she fell on herself.
Residents who do not want to be identified say Barnes fought to live, but had been shot at least 9 times.
In the jaw, in the neck, and in the chest, and in the leg. 9 times he said.
Barnes was transported to Northwestern where she died, and tragically for this neighborhood, it wasn't the first child lost to gunfire.
And Vaughn would go on to tweet just hours after K.I. was pronounced dead, saying that he loves his gang and they love him, before tweeting, mad that nobody misses him. And this was followed by people confirming that K.I. had been killed. O-Block veteran Jay Hood would reveal in a Cam Capone interview many years later that Vaughn came back to O-Block and told him what he'd done immediately after the murder.
But he literally say just like this, I'm looking straight, he man, why I just run up on K.I. and why I just ran up on them and caught K.I. She was the last one running out of the gate. I was like, no way.
The day after the hit, Black Disciple rapper Lil Reese would tweet Vaughn's catchphrase saying that he does his thing, seemingly a congratulatory post to Vaughn, who replied saying, you gots to.
Hey, Dr. Drew and my wife Susan here. We want to show you something.
Bitch. And over the next few days, he would once again deliver a flurry of activity on Twitter, tweeting that his ops don't scare him and that the whole gang war is funny to him. He would say that he's lost a lot of friends, so his enemies must die in retaliation. Vaughn would also tweet saying that people wouldn't believe the things that he does in the streets and saying that he will never tell. Vaughn would even copy K.I.'s earlier tweet from the week before her murder about people not getting the picture until you put them in the frame, as well as tweeting at her saying he misses his old girl. Vaughn was clearly in a celebratory mood following the murder of K.I., and he would go on to make post after post referencing the ongoing gang war, posting tributes to T. Roy, telling his incarcerated friend that he was going crazy on the streets while he was locked up. Vaughn was seemingly proud of himself for all he was achieving in the streets at this point. He would seemingly update his body count to 6, openly tweeting homicide in the air and that he made 6 people extinct for playing hard. Vaughn would even post his own mugshot saying they should have never freed him because he's a menace. He tweeted that he put people's brains in their lap and asked his followers if they would still be there for him when he gets 100 years in jail. Vaughn would suggest that he is only competing in kill counts with T-Roy, suggesting that those two were the most deadly people in the streets at this time. And he would claim to wake up in the morning thinking of nothing but killing people. Other rappers and well-known figures around Chicago drill would continue to tweet congratulating King Von after this murder, people like Lil Reese and Boss Top. And Von would also tweet on April the 28th that there's only 2 places for a man like him, presumably jail or hell. Clearly, he must have had an inkling, as he would end up being picked up in connection to the murder the following day.
Okay, so y'all see this is his the prisoner transportation transmittal. So we gonna go over it a little bit. He's originally, I guess he lived on 7807 South Paulina Street. Okay, so this, I'm trying to see the date. What is that? 90? No, that's his date of birth. He was born in 94. So I'm 14 years older than him. So yeah. During this time, he was 19 years old when he was arrested. I don't know who residence he used at that time, 169th and Jordan Avenue. That's in Hazel Crest, Illinois. Okay. Y'all see his charges right here. This was just during this time when he turned 19. So say he got a charge for first-degree murder. He got 2 charges of aggravated battery and discharge of firearm. That's at 19, y'all. This is his real name, Davon Bennett. So this is around the time, this is where he's originally from, up in this area. I don't know if this is the exact address, but when I was coming up, I lived, I think Paulina probably was like maybe 1 or 2 blocks, maybe over, because I stayed on 78th and Hermitage, and I went to the same grammar school that he did. So like I said, I'm 14 years older than him. So of course, by the time he was born, I was long and gone. I left from over there. We moved from over there. I forgot exactly when we did, but I was in 3rd grade when we moved from over there. Okay, let's get back to it.
On the 29th of April, But Von would never be formally charged with K.I.'s murder. He would deny even knowing her and would initially offer to do a polygraph test, as well as providing a loose alibi, relying on a woman claiming that she had been with him the entire day of the murder. Combine that with the fact that Von had apparently checked in with his parole officer just an hour before the murder worked in his favor, despite the crime scene being only 35 minutes from the parole office, meaning that Von had over 25 minutes spare to get there and kill K.I. immediately after signing in with his PO. As a result of these slick maneuvers, Von would indeed be released the next day and face no further consequences in this situation. And he would tweet that he beat that case like Rocky.
And I wanted to say this too, man, y'all, at that time, man, y'all, that it was bad as ever over there. Like when you, that was around the time, if I say I was in 3rd grade at that time, you know what I mean? I learned how to duck. If I didn't know how to do nothing else, I knew how to duck. Because, baby, we stayed up in the house to where both gangways was open. You know what I mean? It wasn't fenced or nothing like that. So it was open from one block going through the alley, you know, going straight to the alley or whatever. So if somebody is running through the alley, they can easily just run through the gangway. They even had shootouts within our gangway. And that's one of the main reasons we left from over in that area. And that was during my time, the time that I was there, that this boy probably wasn't even born yet, or probably had just been born. Throughout the time frame that, matter of fact, that is around the time frame, around the time that he was born, because it was within the early 90s. I remember because that was around the time that the Chicago Bulls had won their first ring. You know what I mean? And then they had the 3-peat, and then they had the 4-peat in 94. So, yeah. His little tail was born around the time that we left. So I think we probably left about in 1992. Because we was there for the first world championship. And then after that, we moved on the other side of the city. And we were somewhere else when the Chicago Bulls won the last 3 rings championships. So, yeah, I was way gone, but it was horrible back then. And it's so crazy is that I don't know if y'all probably already missed it because he had spoke on this content creator. He had actually spoke on the father of King Von. And the father was affiliated with gangs and everything too. You know, so maybe throughout that time when I was a little girl, maybe that was his father and you know, and not his father, but I'm just saying whoever his father was affiliated with, you know, those gangs, maybe it was during that time that I was experiencing as a little girl coming up with all the violence that was going on within the block that I was on. Oh, it was not no joke in the 90s. It was not.
And that he was in a good mood, showing love to everyone but the ops. That was followed by him tweeting laughing faces and saying that he was grateful to be free and that he's too real. A few days later, Von would be tweeting that he beats bodies and that he doesn't plan on going to prison, as well as seemingly referencing K.I.'s resemblance to Snoop from The Wire and calling her a dead op. Years later, Von would even go on to brag about killing K.I. on songs after he started rapping, famously saying on the track War With Us that he put a pretty op bitch in the morgue, you can call her drop dead gorgeous, as well as saying that he keeps a strap like K.I. on the song GTA. For years following this murder, people, including myself, speculated on whether King Von had killed K.I., or whether it was the work of fellow O-Block hitter Big A, who reportedly went by the nickname ASCII, or Ask K.I., after her death, suggesting that he had something to do with her killing. But in lyrics to King Von's leaked song Wait, he seemingly rapped about the day that he caught K.I., with lyrics a lot of people believe would allude to Von jumping out of the car and chasing K.I. down the alley, with Big A being the driver. Von would also rap on the song Cousins that he kills women and men and can't tell the difference. But it wasn't just Von. Lil Durk would also rap in December of 2014, the year that K.I. was killed, on the song War with E-Day, seemingly suggesting that he had owned a gun that was used in K.I.'s murder. Now, rapping about someone that you killed is one thing, but King Von actually went on to do one of the most psychopathic things I have ever seen.
Now, I wonder, I know y'all probably wondering, like, K.I., this is a little girl? This little girl he talking to like that? This little girl that he threatening and going back and forth with on Twitter, and, you know, about what he gonna do to her and all this and that, but y'all gonna see. K.I. was something else. Y'all gonna see. Like I say, this video is pretty long. So if we don't finish out the whole video, I'll probably give it like another, because we already listened to almost an hour of it, then an hour of it. Then because KI video is not that long. So we can always come back to this. So I'm gonna let this go probably for another like probably 10 minutes or so. And then we're gonna go straight into KI so we can get into that. So that way when we come back to the King Von story, y'all can be able to put both stories together and understand exactly what this meant, what this content creator is speaking about when it has to do with KI.
Because on May the 23rd, 2019, a documentary about KI would...
See, that's the documentary. So if y'all want to, I'm gonna leave it up on here for a little while. If y'all want to, y'all can go there and watch it. But if y'all want me to pull it up, I can do that too. And we can watch it together. Do y'all rather want to hear this? What I have? What I have is like a 30-minute, I believe it's a almost 40-minute video. Or we can actually watch this, the untold story. Let me know in the chat before I press play again, y'all. Just put a 1 or something up in the chat. For yes, we can watch the documentary or we can watch the video. It's still probably about the same amount of time frame. Okay, Doris say what I have. Anybody else? Anybody else? And thank you, Lisa. I see that you are on the panel with me. I appreciate you, sis. I really appreciate you. We're gonna do a little talking in between. I'm gonna let this go for about another 10 minutes and then we're gonna go into the KI story.
Okay. You're welcome.
All right. Okay. Nobody else said something. So Doris, you in, baby. If we get into it, we just end up getting into it. Y'all know it I got time today. It is what it is because I really don't feel like doing nothing else today. Once I get up off of here, I'm taking me a shower and I'm laying it down and get my butt up tomorrow. That's how that's gonna go.
Would air on A&E, titled Secret Life of a Gang Girl. This piece goes in depth into the life of KI, exploring her motivations to become a gang member despite being a petite young woman, as well as interviewing some of the people that knew her during this time. And that documentary about KI would interview none other than King Von, who was featured prominently in the documentary, and if you ask me, he was just straight up trolling the TV crew, who clearly hadn't done their homework. Von would appear in the show, portraying himself as having been an infatuated admirer pursuing KI for nothing but romantic reasons. And the fact that the film crew didn't even have an inkling that Von was responsible is just crazy to me. And it's not like the info that he killed KI wasn't already circulating out there at this point, because while Von is in jail for his next murder in 2016, word of his story as a shooter in the Chicago gang war would spread on the edgy message board 4chan, where a gang-obsessed 4chan member would claim to have accessed KI's private DMs, exposing those private messages which we already saw between King Von and KI all the way back in 2012. With this deranged 4chan user even replying to friends of KI from her account who had continued to DM her after her death looking for closure, with that 4chan hacker writing a lengthy post claiming to have been told by a friend of KI's in the DMs that they believed King Von was her killer. Bear in mind, this information was floating around all the way back in 2016, 2 years after the murder and 3 years before the documentary. However, eventually, a whole year after Von's death, in 2021, the Chicago police would release documents revealing that they believed King Von himself to be KI's killer, with apparently multiple witnesses pinning Von as the shooter, but unfortunately, the state decided not to prosecute, stating that the case simply wouldn't meet the burden of proof to secure a conviction. So, King Von would be released back on the streets after having allegedly killed the girl he had seemingly spent years hunting down. But only a month and a half later, Von would go on to catch yet another murder, which would finally land him in jail, and just briefly putting a stop to his serialized killings.
If you've been injured in a car accident, don't call an attorney. Use this AI app instead. That's what I did, and it's how I got this $100,000 check in less than 30 seconds. I know it sounds crazy, but trust me, if you've been injured in a car accident, I'm about to turn your world upside down. So I was in a car accident a few months ago. My car was totaled, and I ended up injuring my arm. I was in a bad situation. I missed work, and to make things worse, the small check the insurance offered me wasn't enough to buy a replacement car in this market. Luckily, I was scrolling on my phone late at night and came across.
After being questioned about the KI murder and being released with no consequences, King Von felt invincible. The month is May 2014, and Von had seemingly killed a total of 6 people at this point. As usual, he'd be on Twitter non-stop, hinting at his actions in the streets, asking God for forgiveness for killing his ops, and saying that he shoots first and asks questions later. He would tweet that he's in a different league when it comes to killing, and others need to catch up, and telling the world that he's always armed and ready for his ops. Clearly Von was active in the streets, as well as on Twitter, claiming to be driving through his ops area literally as he was tweeting, and saying that he has an itchy trigger finger. Von would claim that anybody can get smoked for the right price or cause, warning his ops not to come near him or he will shoot. Von would claim to never be putting his gun down because too many people have died in the gang war, taunting his ops, saying he knows that they want him, but it's not his time to die. Von would even repost a viral clip from WorldStar titled "When Keeping It Real Goes Wrong," a video apparently showing a group of people filming themselves going to Chief Keef's neighborhood and getting shot at. A clip that people would later claim was actually King Von doing the shooting. I mean, just imagine having the balls to shoot at people and then retweet the WorldStar video of you shooting at them. The same day as this, Von would claim that he's buying guns with 100-round magazines and wondering who he's going to shoot, as well as saying that he'd been gangbanging all day and now he's tired out. The following day, Von would tweet saying that others wouldn't do half of the stuff that he's done and plans to do in the streets, and Von would say that he plans to keep scoring until he wins. Only 2 days after that, Von would find himself attempting to score again. On the 29th of May, 2014, an afternoon party would be going on at 5722 South LaSalle Street. Von would attend this party where he spotted 2 members from the rival gang. At this point, the mother of the person whose birthday party it was apparently told Von not to start trouble in her house, with Von saying that he wouldn't and leaving. Von would leave the party and go and get a friend, Big Mike, apparently telling another person who was still at the party on the phone that he was coming back and that they should take the children inside. Von and Big Mike would return to that party, parking down the street and approaching a group of 3 men outside the house, opening fire. 3 of those men would be hit by gunshots, whilst Von chased them, allegedly yelling, "Why are you running?" And when the shooting stopped, a 19-year-old man by the name of Malcolm Stuckey would be declared dead with a gunshot wound to the head. The Chicago police would respond to the shooting at 6:10 p.m., arriving on the scene where police were pictured securing the location around Malcolm's body. Apparently Von was really trying to kill 2 rival gang members that he saw at the party, ultimately hitting 3 people for only killing Malcolm, who allegedly wasn't the intended target or even involved in the gang war. Perhaps this is why we never hear King Von in his career disrespecting or saying that he's smoking Malcolm like he did to many of the other people that he was rumored to have killed. But there would still be hints at his involvement, because while Malcolm had been laying in the street with a bullet in his head for several hours, only 12 minutes before he'd officially be pronounced dead, Von would tweet saying that he has some issues, but he cannot tell a soul about them. Meanwhile, Boss Top from O-Block would tweet that Von is the guy who sits people down if they run up. Now, it would take nearly 2 months for the authorities to connect Von to this murder, and during this time, he would continue to be prolific posting on Twitter. He would tweet that he was on the block with his gun in the early hours of the morning, just the day after the murder of Malcolm, and tweeting that all of the things that people are hearing about are him. He's the one responsible. He would tweet saying that he's killed so many ops that he doesn't have any more feelings. He'd also tweet that it's all fun and games until somebody you know is no longer breathing. And he would tweet saying that he did all of this on parole and just wait until he gets off, with a demon emoji. And in another deleted tweet that was apparently reposted by somebody else, Von openly tweeted saying that he wanted to go on an all-out killing spree. However, King Von's crime spree would ultimately be cut short on prom night of all nights. Von would be pictured holding a gun at O-Block in his suit in the hours before prom, and he would even tweet warning people not to try him while he's dressed in his suit. Von would then end up doing a shooting in his prom suit with witnesses describing his outfit, ultimately leading to his arrest. Von's last tweet would be on June the 7th, 2014, the ominous statement, "Loose screws get nailed." He would end up being arrested on firearms charges on prom night, and then the following month, on the 22nd of July 2014, Von's accomplice in the murder of Malcolm Stuckey, Big Mike, ended up getting charged with murder and being taken in for questioning by the police. Then, 2 days later, on July the 24th, 2014, King Von, already in jail, would be charged with 1 count of first-degree murder for the killing of Malcolm Stuckey and 2 counts of attempted murder for the other 2 people shot in that incident. Von's arrest for this crime would attract significant media coverage, and he would remain in jail awaiting trial from June 2014 to December 2017. And during that time, His people would tweet from his Twitter account saying that they missed him, asking for visitors to come see him on his birthday, and posting clips and pictures of him in jail during his visits.
Let's go.
Yeah. No, I'm not. You got the money from Mama? No, it's still a whole call.
I have come home and I have stood at the base of the steps just dreading the 40 stairs that I have to.
Ugly.
But while Von was in jail, he would raise hell, apparently helping to start a huge fire on the wing in April 2017. He would constantly get into fights with his ops, apparently never turning down confrontations.
That's why I can say Von had over 20 fights in that. He was. He talk about jail. He talk about that shit like it's a rite of passage. Like every was a street like him, he was like jail was coming. Yeah, that's why he was always in that, because he never cared about jail. That's how he was able to be the type of he was in the streets. Because some of these savages, like, and you supposed to do with that in the back of your mind, like knowing, like, go south, go to jail. Well, shorty sliding up on like the police don't even exist. He just smoke you broad day.
Von would remain in jail for an extended period of time, around 3.5 years in total. And during his time in jail, he picked up the nickname Grandson, apparently for his resemblance in image as well as temperament to the Black Disciples founder, David Barksdale.
Okay, so David Barksdale, also known as King David, allegedly is he's the head of the Black Disciples, also known as BDs, the gang that King Von was representing. We are also going to do a live on that. Now, not only King David, but we also going to do one on Larry Hoover, who was allegedly ahead of the Gangster Disciples, also known as the GDs. And then we're going to do one on Jeff Ford. So I got those coming up. So basically what I'm doing now is giving history, but also this is also something that's recent at the same time. But all of this pretty much falls into a category, and it explains a lot of violence that has been going on, for quite some time within the Chicago area, the inner city of Chicago area. But we're gonna get ready and cut this out. Let me I'm gonna let them go ahead and explain this part to y'all about King David, and then we're gonna go right into KI.
Barksdale, also known as King David. It's obvious that King Von took a lot of inspiration from the original founder of the gang that he repped, the Black Disciples. Not only going by the name King Von, but also frequently saying David Barksdale's nickname, often ending sentences by saying, "on King David."
On King David.
Also, while Von was in jail awaiting trial, the conflicts in the streets would continue to play out, and Von would eventually get the worst news imaginable. His right-hand man, T. Roy, would be shot and killed in a convenience store on Valentine's Day 2017. Von's people would post Twitter tributes memorializing his friend and favorite shooter. And Von would later open up about the very moment that he got the news about T. Roy's death while he was in jail.
Yeah, R.I.P. T. Roy, man, that was my best friend. I got that nigga on my neck. That's how strong that shit. I got him gang banging on my neck. That's how we was gang banging up.
With Von saying that he completely broke down crying when he found out that his right-hand man T. Roy was gone.
This is my dog. Before they get my dog, I was locked up. Killed me, I broke down. I ain't cried so long. But every day, this my I'm in jail. I'm fighting the murder and shit. I call it every day. It's my right-hand man. So I'm telling him like, all right, now since he go, we can tell him, he getting that. Man, I'm gonna get you out, Von. I'm gonna get you out, man. Whatever I gotta do, I'm gonna get you out. I swear to God. But we in the street, how that shit go. So he trying to hustle, he trying to rob, all type. He doing whatever he can do. Yeah, I'm gonna get you a lawyer, bro. I got you, He be telling me, give me a guy. I be calling, man. Don't even worry about it, man. Just look, just you make sure I'm gonna figure this shit out. Just be cool out there. I call folks. It's like, it's on like Valentine's Day, you see what I'm saying? I call my mama back. And she crying and Mom, what the f you crying for? You good? You know what I'm saying? Ooh, they shot T-Roy. T-Roy got, what? Ooh, what? Look at the phone. You know how that so you in jail, you can tell, hold on, what? Now we calling, no matter what's going on. He got hit one, some shit. Oh, damn. What the f going on out there? I'm T-Roy, got shot. Look, this is the thing, y'all don't know T-Roy. Y'all gotta leave our history of T-Roy, y'all don't know. T-Roy got to go further. That's T-Roy. That's T-Roy. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Y'all don't know T-Roy like I know T-Roy, you know what I'm saying? So when I hear he gets shot on, he don't want to talk me like, don't be lacking, don't be, you know? He was on me, he used to be on each other, you know what I'm saying? Because me and him, we back to back. That's my boy, you know what I'm saying? Folks got shot, I said, hold on. I said, the streets, hold on. Who got shot? Who? Nah, he a gangster. He got shot before. He a gangster. I said, folks ain't make it on phone them out. I play it out, you know me. You know, you got to play it out. You in jail, that's all type of goof ass, right? You know, these 30 people. All of your business on King David, I walk it off. I'm just walking around in circles on the deck, you know. And they put their arm around me. When I'm like, damn, you good, bro? You good? What's wrong with you, boy? Yeah, I'm good. Ooh, what's wrong? You got a phone, man? I'm good, you know. They what happened? I mean, they just killed T-Roy. Who? He what? I'm T-Roy. They just killed T-Roy. Oh, I got to break it down on King David. I couldn't help it. They hugging me. These some real. You know what I'm saying? We grown ass men. Folks grab me to hold me. Get to there, you gonna be all right, shorty. You gonna be all right. Oh, hold on, boy. That's my best friend, boy. Somebody just killed my best friend while I'm in jail. I'm in that gonna go crazy. Oh, I'm in that. Don't know what's going on. I'm in that. Who the y'all? I'm that mad on. Oh yeah, I'm in that. Nah, not my best friend. You know what I'm saying? I'm in that. If he get got, there ain't a lot of hope for a lot of, cause he be. Y'all know how folks see his man. T-Roy. Oh, so T-Roy. Oh, let me see who. The guys is looking like, ooh, this preaching on. Oh, don't trip, you know. Y'all know this that street. The street watching me like that. This about the. I know, yeah, this the street. I better pay attention. I ain't gonna keep doing. But this don't supposed to be for free.
Von would take T-Roy's.
Okay, y'all. So we're gonna pause that. Child of God, like, I don't want to hear this. Not tonight. But hey, this is the history of my city. You know what I mean? That's pretty much based off current events that's still going on to this day. It may not be as bad, but this has definitely affected the city of Chicago really bad. Lisa, you still here, Blood?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You would like to say, dear? I'm ready to get this other video.
Okay, go ahead. I was listening.
Yeah, so you know, unfortunately, y'all, it's a lot of stuff that goes on, or that has went on out here, and things that still currently goes on out here that do not even hit the news train, like literally. So it'd be kind of crazy to me that it don't hit the news train. It may not be important, you know, to some folks, but it's important to me, and this is what my channel is about. I mean, we always gonna switch it up, but what's the purpose of me having a channel called Chi-Town Talks if nothing is about Chi-Town? So I got to give y'all some insight on, what goes on out here from my hometown. We got some good things that goes on out here, and most definitely we're going to talk about that. And we're going to go through some of that stuff too as well. We're going to do all of that. Like, it's not always bad. We got it's a lot of messed up situations everywhere. That's for sure. But hey, we live to see another day. And it's also a good thing to actually know, what you walking yourself into. I mean, just learn from these situations. It's hard for all of our kids, no matter where we at. It's hard everywhere. It's a lot of crazy stuff that happen everywhere. That's for sure. It's just not Chicago. Don't single us out, because we surviving every day, just like anybody else. Everybody then came from somewhere. It's not about where you came from. It's where you going. All right. So I'm going to look through these comments. Let me go on here and share this stream. Okay, Doris say, I've heard people talk about having PTSD from all the violence. Sus. At this point, it's almost like they just trying to diagnose black folks with all black folks with PTSD, almost to the point to where, hell, they trying to make it seem like we just was born with PTSD at this point. They think that that's the reason for every single thing. Everybody got PTSD. Lord. You say, I'm glad I found your channel. I'm glad you found my channel too, Doris. Most definitely. I appreciate you. We love to have you anytime. If you didn't already, just please subscribe. So that way you will know every time I get ready to go live, you will get your notification. And you also can subscribe to Chi-Town Talks on Facebook. For whatever live that you miss, you can always go back over there, and you can also get update news and current news. I just recently posted something that just came to my phone for something just happening within the locals. So y'all always can go over there and just check. I mean, if you always want to keep up with what's going on in Chicago, that's the page for you. So I did drop the link up in the chat. If you probably can go up a little bit. If you on your phone, you can see that the Facebook link is pinned at the top. You can go on there and follow, or you can hit one of the links. If you can go back up into the comments, and you should be able to see it from there. Okay, Lisa, you good?
Yes, I'm good, sis. Yeah,
Okay.
I was sitting here, listening to you. I was gonna wait till you play and say something close to
Go
it.
ahead. Go ahead. You wanna did you wanna add anything? What you think about what's
Yeah,
going
you
on?
was like talking about the like what's going on in the violence. That's everywhere now. And it's truly sad that that's the lifestyle they live, and and you look at when would it be a change with it. But that's basically everywhere in the games and all of that, and stuff, and being out there, it just it's something, when you listen to it. And I have been keeping up with Chicago because I have family there, so I have heard some of the stuff that was going on up there as well where I live, stuff now that's taking it out, a little worse around here. But you got to stay prayed up, like you say. You have to be kind of careful. You're ducking. You're learning at a young age to duck. Um, that it's sad. It really is. We had a child where people were shooting, didn't care, and the bullet went inside the house and shot the baby. Ended up being paralyzed. Young. So it's something to think about. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. They say, this life is, everybody is surviving this life. All we want to do is survive at the end of the day.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So yeah. So we gonna get started on the next one, y'all.
Okay.
Let's find out who this KI girl is.
Chicago saw one of its most violent weekends of the year with more than 60 people shot over the weekend, a third of them under the age of 17.
Chicago faces an epidemic of gun violence. This year alone, more than 2,100 people have been shot, more than 400 killed.
We're going to take you now to Chicago, where this past weekend, at least 52 people were shot, 8 of them killed in a wave of violence across the city.
13. With that shit, you get that shit.
There's a lot of ways to get caught. Mistaken identity, anything. You ain't got to do with this shit. There's innocent bystanders getting killed in this shit every day, man. That's why you got to keep it straight. I like to keep some big shit in case a nigga try me. I'm going to cook his ass.
Call Shaq Boy at the back, blow these bobber niggas like Osama.
Cray, my young nigga.
K.I., my young killer. A lot of niggas be rapping, but we the ones tote guns, nigga.
These EBT ass niggas right here, man. Yeah.
I'm from STL when I be posted on EDT, bitch.
So I found this website claiming to give free gift cards to Popeyes, and I actually got one. So let's.
Boy took a bill, we shoot that kill, boy, this shit super real. Bell out on the with the Draco and watch sure this shit spill.
She got super mad when I said I'm from 63rd, bitch. Say lies.
Jakira Barnes, aka KI, was born on January 21st, 1997, in Chicago, Illinois, to her mother, Chantel Brown. Before she would even turn 1 year old, she would lose her father. He was shot in the head with an AK-47 in front of his home. Some people say it's because he was a gang leader in the city of Chicago, but KI's mom said that that's not true. KI would witness one of her brothers being murdered in front of her when she was very young, and death would become a common theme in her life. She also had a brother by the name of George Barnes, aka G.I. Joe, and they were very close. Growing up, KI seemed to be a normal girl. She enjoyed hanging out with her friends. She had boyfriends, and she was an honor roll student. She had dreams of becoming a social worker and helping out less fortunate kids. She attended Perspectives, IIT, Math and Science Academy. But in the middle of her 9th grade year, there was a change in KI. Her grades were slipping. She was having behavioral issues at school, and she was spending a lot more time on the block. STL EBT, 63rd, with its most prominent member being Carlton Weekly, aka FBG Duck. KI wasn't a shooter at this time, but she would fight girls from rival neighborhoods like TYMB and their biggest rivals, who were basically right across the street at Parkway Gardens, Wick City. But what started as small neighborhood beefs and schoolyard fights were escalating into gunplay, and KI would start to lose more and more of her friends. Because on September 22nd, 2010, a 20-year-old man by the name of Jeremy Marshall, aka Lil Fo, was shot to death in the Woodlawn neighborhood. He was the cousin of FBG Kells, a well-respected member of STL EBT. It's said that the killer of Little Fo was Wick City member O.D. Perry, who was growing a reputation in the streets for being a shooter. And just a few months later, on January 12th, 2011, K.I. would lose somebody who she was very close to, somebody who she grew up with, Shondell Gregory, aka Tuka.
STL crazy. You already know. See, I got the loud right here. You know, it's almost gone, but I don't give a fuck. Because I've been playing about the nuts.
Tuka was a beloved member of STL-EBT. It said as he sat at a bus stop, a car with 3 men pulled up on him, 2 from TYMB and 1 from Wick City, O.D. Perry. According to witnesses, one of the men exited the vehicle.
I'm sorry, y'all. I was muted when I was in up here talking. What I did say was that remember that K.I. is the opposition of from King Von. So those are 2 different gangs. K.I., she belonged to the gang known as the Gangster Disciples, GDs. And King Von belonged to a gang called the Black Disciples, which also known as the BDs. So literally these 2 gangs are 3 blocks away from each other. You know, so no matter if you are a family member or whatever, if you claiming to be, you know, either one, you know, either gang, and you actually live within, I'll just say for example, if you live around the Black Disciples, also known as BDs, but you are claiming to be a GD, also known as the Gangster Disciples, I mean, at the end of the day, you might want to kind of rethink that, or just keep it to yourself, you know, or just be neutral, because, you know, it wouldn't even matter at that point. You know, you are automatically an enemy. You a threat.
Vehicle with a half mask over his face. He exchanged a few words with Tuka. Then a large caliber silver revolver was shown, and Tuka was shot in the chest. He stumbled away and fell on the ground. Then the gunman stood over him and fired 3 more shots into his body before getting back in the vehicle and speeding away. And it said that the shooter was O.D. Perry. The members of STL-EBT will rename their gang to Tukaville as a way to pay honor to their fallen friend. And they would also say that they were smoking on Tuka, just like the Outlaws did for the late great Tupac Shakur, as a way to pay respect. But the opposition of Tukaville would quickly transform this from an act of endearment into an act of disrespect. When rising Chicago rapper Chief Keef got a hold of the term, he would often rap about how he was smoking on Tuka as a way to taunt their rivals from STL-EBT. But it wasn't just in songs or just in the streets where the dead were being disrespected. Social media will become a battleground for different gangs, going back and forth, making death threats, and disrespecting each other's dead homies, increasing the violence in this.
So I don't know if y'all familiar with Chief Keef, but he was a famous hip hop rapper as well. That's originally from Chicago. He grew up within the same area as King Von. So he was the ops of K.I. So when they when the guy Tuka was killed, they mocked his death, you know, within the lyrics of the songs. Well, a song that allegedly Chief Keef was speaking on, when they say that they smoking on Tuka. So it pretty much was you know, it was a mock towards the Gangsta Disciples, which pretty much brought a lot of drama, you know, between the both gangs, you know, which we already see that K.I., she was kind of close to Tuka, I believe. So that brought on a lot of animosity.
The city, the death of Tuka turned K.I.'s heart completely black, and she wanted nothing but revenge. She would be taken under the wing of older STL member C-Ball, who was also close to Tuka, and her cousin, Boss Trail, aka the Chicago Max Payne. It's said that he would teach the younger members of Tukaville about gunplay, how to handle their weapons, and how to kill. On August 10th, 2011, it was a celebration on STL EBT. It was Shondell Gregory's birthday. It was Tuka Day. FBG Duck will be filming his music video for his song Freestyle, and the whole Tukaville family would be there. And after filming the video, their adrenaline was pumping, and they felt like Tuka's birthday would be the perfect day for some get back. At 11:30 p.m., O.D. Perry would be walking near Parkway Gardens when he was ambushed and shot multiple times, including a shot to the neck. Losing his life at 20 years old, the members of Wick City would mourn the loss of O.D. Perry.
So, man, y'all, for the ones that's not familiar with Chicago, Parkway Gardens is also known as O Block. That's where King Von is from. Well, not originally from, but, you know, that's where he pretty much did the majority of his work. You know what I mean? You know, that's when he really became allegedly called the assassin.
And they would rename the block in his honor, but they would also wonder who exactly was behind his death. Many people were saying that it was top Tukaville shooter Marvell Williams, aka FBG Wooski, but thanks to a witness tip, the Chicago PD would already have its primary suspects, Jakira K.I. Barnes and her street mentor.
Okay, let's pause this. This is the O.D. Perry. This is one of his reports. So we see right here that he was born in 91. He was 20 years old at the time. The current resident that they had on file, there was that he was currently living at was 109th and Racine. As you can see, he was born in Illinois. And they didn't show, they don't have anything. No. Oh, okay. That's this is the young lady, Jakira Barnes. She was born in 95. And that's O.D. Perry, born in 91. O.D. Perry is Tuka. When she believe, you know, I believe that they was really close. And Jakira, she was born in 95. They was 4 years apart.
Rodney Stewart, aka Boss Trail, but many people didn't want to believe that a 14-year-old girl had taken the life of a respected Wick City member. O.D. Perry was known to carry a .357 Magnum, a gun he could be seen with in multiple pictures. But it's said after shooting O.D., K.I. took that gun from him, and she could be seen on social media, posing with it as if it were a trophy. But by taking the life of O.D. Perry, K.I. would inadvertently create what would go on to become the most famous block in America, and they would call it O Block.
Are you a low-income American on food stamps or Medicaid? If so, you are now eligible to receive a
Pop out. O Block, bring them blocks out. 300, bring them shots out. We shoot on your block now.
You gotta know I go too far. Get two O's up on this honey. One of them might stand for O Block.
K.I. started to get the reputation of a shooter around the city, and her profile would rise even more when fellow Tukaville member King Little J, who was a very popular rapper during the rise of the Chicago drill era, and he was featured multiple times on the popular DJ Academic series, War in Chirac. He would mention her in songs, rapping about how she was a shooter and how she was putting a murder game down in the streets. Some members of Tuckerville called K.I. Little Snoop, as in Felicia Snoop Pearson, from the HBO television series, The Wire. Her demeanor, her toughness, and how deadly she was reminded her gang of the character from the classic TV show.
Are you contracting or just doing some work around the house?
We work all over.
Full time?
No, we had about 5 jobs last month. Man, shit, I seen a tiny ass 22 round nose drop a nigga plenty of days, man. Motherfuckers get up there, you like a pinball, whip your ass up. Big joints though, big joints, man, just break a bone, you just say fuck it.
K.I. was now in the trenches of the Chicago gang wars being supplied with weapons through very interesting origins. There are stories of U.S. soldiers smuggling weapons to certain gangs in Chicago. One of those gangs hailing from the South Side, the Pocket Town GDs, who were in the middle of a very violent war against a crew from the East Side in an area known as Terrortown. NLMB, No Limit Muskegon Boys, with its most recognizable member being the rapper G Herbo. But this is just one of many stories of high-powered weapons meant for the battlefields of Afghanistan or Iraq, making their way to the inner city community in the hands of young kids and teenagers waging war on one another. And death would once again come to take somebody close to K.I. A 13-year-old boy by the name of Taekwon Tyler. It's said that him and K.I. was cousins, but he was more like a little brother to her. They were very close, and they would spend a lot of time together, even though his mom moved him out of Chicago to a small town in Illinois to get away from all of the violence. But he would often come back to visit. He wanted to attend a house party that was being held on the 6200 block of South Rhodes Avenue. Initially, his mom didn't want him to go. She had a bad feeling about it, but he kept asking and begging about going to this party. He wanted to go with K.I. And eventually, his mom agreed that he could go under one condition, that she would be there to pick him up as soon as the party was over. But as the party was ending and people were beginning to leave, a fight broke out amongst a group of men and gunshots rang out. One of those bullets striking 13-year-old Taekwon Tyler in the chest. His mom was already there to pick him up from the party, but what she found was her son bleeding out on the sidewalk. She held him in her arms as he took his last breath, and K.I. was there to witness the whole thing, her little brother being murdered right in front of her. It's said that the fight that broke out at the party had nothing to do with Taekwon, and he was just at the wrong place at the wrong time. There is also a theory that K.I. had begun to train Taekwon on gunplay and how to rob, and she would send him to rob older drug dealers. And that's what happened. One of those dealers got mad, doubled back, and killed a young Taekwon. A man named Nashawn Flowers would be arrested for his murder, and he would ultimately be convicted and sentenced to 55 years in prison. After Taekwon's death, K.I. was truly heartbroken, but she vowed to make the streets bleed in his name. She would change her social media handle to Taekwon Assassin, and she would create a subset of STLEBT, Taekwon World, comprised of some of the youngest members of the gang, people like TB and Poppy, Richie Jerk, and 0078, who's probably most well known for allegedly killing one of the most feared shooters in Chicago gangland history, 051 Melly. Taekwon World would quickly grow a reputation for dropping bodies. K.I. would instruct her youngins to slide on certain neighborhoods that they were beefing with, while she would go at the bigger targets. 800, TYMB, 300 in Lamron, and especially O-Block. Anybody could get it. It was a war going on, and in K.I.'s mind, she was a soldier. But in war, there are casualties, and Tuckerville would lose another member by the name of Marlon Monroe, aka Little Doc, because on April 28, 2012, The 23-year-old Little Doc was walking home from work on the 6300 block of South St. Lawrence Avenue when a gunman leaned out of a vehicle and sprayed up the block, striking Little Doc in the chest. The Chicago PD would arrive on scene to collect evidence. They collected shell casings and anything else that they could see. They collected everything except Little Doc. He laid there in the tall weeds, dead, for hours, until a 16-year-old boy stumbled upon his body and called the police again, and they finally came and got him. In the months that followed, Tuckerville and O-Block would relentlessly diss each other online, clowning each other's dead homies. And when it came to O-Block, they liked to diss one STL EBT member in particular, one of KI's best friends, Shondell Gregory, aka Tuka.
Hi guys, today I'm sharing True Connect, a cellular service. They are on a mission to connect the under.
While I'm smoking on Shondell, O-Block, bitch, do my team, bro. O-Block, right up on your block, bitch. Go, man down, bitch, you on, rolling up the
And on September 25th, 2012, a fight would take place on the train that would forever tie KI to one of her biggest rivals, Davon Bennett, aka King Von. They started the fight as soon as they seen each other on the train. King Von would punch KI in the face multiple times. Then he would take to Twitter to let everybody know what he did to her. KI would acknowledge what happened, but said she only has a bruise on her face, but it's all good because her 40 cal could leave a hole in King Von's face. And a few days later, KI would tweet directly at King Von to let him know that she had just beat up a member of O-Block on the train. One of Von's friends, named Little Scud, King Von would acknowledge these tweets by saying that KI wasn't no lame and how he think he's in love with her. And KI would diss King Von in response, but that didn't faze him. He told KI that he wanted to wife her up and how he would treat her right. And on October 5th, 2012, King Von would begin to direct message KI, telling her how much he liked her and how much he wanted to get with her. At first, KI would reject his advances, but Von would stay persistent, and eventually, she started to open up to him. She even asked him about a rumor that she heard that O-Block wanted her dead and that she was a top priority. King Von would tell her, yeah, there are people in O-Block that want you dead, but I don't think I could pull the trigger. He said that he liked her too much. He told her that he had a gun on him when she seen him on the train, and there was another time that they ran into each other and King Von was strapped. So if he really wanted to get to her, he could have done it those times. Von would also tell KI that after the gang wars were over, that they could be together. KI would ask King Von how long did he plan on gangbanging, in which King Von would respond by saying that he couldn't see himself doing anything else, that he loved his guys too much, and that he could never leave them behind. One thing that KI and King Von could agree on is that they both felt that they would die in the streets in the Chicago gang wars. But even though they would have moments of being cordial and somewhat respectful to one another, they were still enemies, and dissing would always come into play. Not too long after exchanging messages with Von, KI would tweet out about O.D. Perry disrespecting him, in which King Von would respond by saying, I should have pissed or spit on you when I seen you on the train that day, but I wasn't thinking straight. KI would then message King Von, making fun of O-Block, saying that they weren't dropping any bodies and how it was Tuckerville putting in all of the work. KI got Von so agitated that he flat out asked her, what, you want to have a shootout with me or something? KI would respond by saying, hell yeah, with you and T-Roy. T-Roy being James Johnson, an O-Block legend. Despite his small stature, he was known for being feared in the streets and being quick with his gun. He was best friends with King Von, and together they formed a deadly duo known as V-Roy. KI would make good on her wish of wanting to have a shootout with him, because on October 9th, 2012, King Von and T-Roy would be spotted outside of the gates of O Block. It's said that KI, along with the FBG Cash, ran down on him, spraying up the block and shooting King Von in the leg, but they were able to survive this attack. King Von would take to social media, making light of being shot in the leg, and he would tell KI that he wasn't a lame and that he shouldn't have to get shot in order for them to be cool, making jokes about the situation. But his best friend T. Roy, he would take a more serious tone by simply tweeting out, "I'm gonna kill this bitch." But KI wasn't done applying pressure to O Block. She shot the female cousin of T. Roy, and she was arrested and questioned behind the incident. Even though she survived the attack and named KI as her shooter, no charges were ever brought against her. It's said that she also tried to murder her ex-boyfriend, Mikado 600, who was down with O Block. She seen him near Parkway Gardens and tried to run down on him, but he was able to escape. The name KI is said to be a shorter version of her name Jakira, but it's also believed that it stood for Killer Instinct, and she definitely had it. But now, it was O Block's time to slide. On October 13th, 2012, 3 young men were walking on the 6300 block of South Rhodes Avenue. Richie Jerk, Modell McKembry, and his cousin, Miles Turner, were going to see a girl. Once they arrived at the house, Modell's cousin Miles went up on the porch to talk to the young lady. Modell and Richie started walking down the block when 3 men appeared from a gangway out of the darkness. Richie Jerk started running and he was able to escape, but Modell, he was hit 5 times. And his cousin Miles, who was on the porch, seeing what happened, he ran to his cousin and held him in his arms. But as he was on the ground trying to console his cousin, the 3 gunmen made the decision not to leave any witnesses, and he was shot multiple times in the back. And those 3 gunmen were King Von, T. Roy, and J Money from O Block. Modell McKembry was a known member of Tukaville along with Richie Jerk, but Miles Turner had no gang affiliations. He was a high school football player at Leo High School, and he had dreams of playing college ball, but now he was paralyzed from the waist down, and his dreams were taken away after being shot by King Von. Modell McKembry was 17 at the time of his death, and King Von would disrespect him on social media on a regular basis. But O Block wasn't done putting in work on Tukaville, because on the morning of October 30th, 2012, a 23-year-old man by the name of Derek Johnson, aka P5, was walking on the 6200 block of South Eberhard Avenue when he was approached by 3 men, Big A from O Block, J Money, and King Von. He was shot 6 times in the head and 9 times in the body. And although he hailed from Gyro City, he had strong ties to Tukaville. The day before P5's death,
I can't hear it, sis.
Okay, my bad. I said what I was saying. I'm sorry, y'all. But I was saying, like, literally to this day, I drive past O Block, but I never go down the side streets. You know, those side streets that's over there is actually where KI and her people was. You know what I mean? Ain't nothing but blood on them streets. You know, I don't even want that energy that's over there, because it's a lot. Like, anytime I actually got to go ride past O Block, it's crazy. Like, for the people that wasn't here, they really have a painted mural of King Von on one of the stores that's over there. And we actually can pull it up. I'll pull it up after this video. I'll pull it up. They should have a picture on Google for it. I'm going to check it on my phone while this video is still going. But, yeah, I don't ride down them streets. No, none of that stuff. Like, I have to ride past it sometime to get where I'm going to go certain places. You know, but, yeah, it's crazy. Let me unpause it for y'all.
King Von would tweet out about how he needed to catch another body so he could finally catch up with his best friend T. Roy. But O-Block wasn't done applying pressure to STL EBT because on the morning of November 8th, 2012, 17-year-old Boss Trail would be found face down in an alley on the 2600 block of West 83rd Street. It said that he was out that way, far away from Tukaville, to meet a girlfriend, but when he arrived, he was met by 3 gunmen instead: J Money, T. Roy, and King Von. They had all conspired to set him up. He got double-crossed by an ex-girlfriend. Boss Trail was a high-profile member of Tukaville, and he was a high priority for O-Block to want to take out. He allegedly killed 2 of their most beloved members. On September 13th, 2011, 18-year-old Devon Varner, aka D-Thang, the co-creator of 600, would be chased down and shot to death, allegedly by FBG Wooski, Dome from Gyro City, and Boss Trail. It said that he was also responsible for the death of 19-year-old Sharoy Liggins on February 16, 2012. Sharoy was leaving a store near O-Block, but when he was walking out, Boss Trail was across the street, and he had a gun with a red beam. He shot Sharoy in the head from a distance, but he wouldn't die right away. He would be left in the hospital fighting for his life for the next 4 days, but eventually he would pass away. The members of Tukaville would make fun of Sharoy online, and they would often reference the red beam that Boss Trail used to take his life, and that same gun could be seen in the FBG Duck and King Little J video Critical, with Boss Trail pointing a red beam directly at the camera. Similar to Sharoy, who was left fighting for his life in the hospital, is the same way that Boss Trail would be left in the hospital fighting for his, but after 7 days, he would pass on as well. It's said that Boss Trail had plans on getting out of the gang life, and he bought a bus ticket to move to a new city and start all over. He wrote on Twitter about how he was excited for his new life, but just 2 days before he was scheduled to depart, he would be shot, and he would never make that trip. And O-Block would take to social media to taunt STL EBT on losing Boss Trail, one of their most important members. And it really hit KI hard. She was close to Boss Trail, and he had taught her a lot. Tukaville would celebrate the memory of Boss Trail, and they would also vow to get revenge in his name.
I have actually been a customer of BetterHelp for a little over 2 years now, and I was able to get matched up with a therapist in like
But despite the bloodshed between O-Block and Tukaville, King Von and KI stayed in touch. King Von would tweet out about them talking on the phone and how sexy KI sounded, or how disappointed he was when she didn't answer the phone. And according to Tay Capone, who used to go by the name of Tay 600 and was very close to King Von, he said that he seen the messages between the two and they were very interesting, to say the least.
After like weeks and weeks of him talking to her like that, on BDN, she started fake caving in to like, she thought like Von and her had some love, like a little fling or something after a while. Like, for you to show me the DMs, no cap, like, for you to be right there, like, for look at this, but he'll be laughing like, I really got her.
According to KI's friends, there was definitely something there between her and King Von. But her friends also say that K.I. believed that she wasn't really pretty enough for Von to want. In her eyes, she felt, what is there to like?
He was like, well, she too pretty for that, and tell her to stop gang banging, you know.
He liked her as a girlfriend?
Yeah, he wanted to be her boyfriend. She just felt like he was trying to set her up and kill her. That's what she told me. She like, I think he just trying to kill me.
Okay, y'all. So that interview that we just seen with the young lady sitting in the chair getting interviewed by the other by the woman, that is the that's the secret life of a gang girl. That's a part of that that video.
He don't like me. What's the like?
That was actually, I believe that was her sister or somebody that was kin to her that was getting interviewed by the woman.
King Von and K.I.'s somewhat romantic and very deadly relationship would be put on hold because on November 20th, 2012, King Von would be arrested for unlawful use of a firearm by a convicted felon. He would spend the next year and a half behind bars. But even while locked up, King Von had K.I. on his mind. He would have his sister, Kayla B., reach out to her and tell her that Von missed her. And he wanted her to come see him while he was in jail. But K.I., she would just laugh off the messages. She was too busy becoming one of the most infamous shooters in Chicago. And it said that she began to do murders for hire. There was a message thread that was released from K.I.'s DMs between her and an unknown man talking about the possibility of taking out a high-profile Chicago rapper. And as they were trying to work out the details of the transaction, the conversation is abruptly ended with K.I. simply saying, 10K for Little Herb up front. Lil Herb meaning G Herbo, getting fast money, living a fast life. But she still wanted revenge for so many of her friends who had recently fallen. Modell, P5, and her mentor, Boss Trail. K.I. wanted Get Back on O-Block. And on September 2nd, 2013, she would get that opportunity at revenge because 21-year-old Jerome Woods, aka J Money, who was best friends with King Von and T-Roy, and known to go on multiple hits with him, including the murder of Boss Trail. And J Money would be set up in a very similar way as Boss Trail. When he arrived to the 6600 block of South Rhodes Avenue, he thought he was going to meet a young lady, but he was met by two gunmen, with one of those gunmen being Rasan Shaw, aka Lil B, No Surrender, one of the top shooters out of STL EBT. When J Money realized that he was being set up, he tried to run through a gangway, but he was shot multiple times in his back. He collapsed on the ground, and the other gunman walked up to him as he laid there and stood over him and put 4 more shots into his head. Immediately following the death of J Money, Little B would tweet out about it, and K.I. as well. She tweeted about shooting people in the head at point blank range. Then she would just flat out say, J Money ain't use his head, so we took it off. Tukaville had just upped the score, and STL EBT celebrated the death of J Money. They knew how much he meant to O-Block. In the morning of February 11th, 2014, King Von would be released from jail, and one of the first things that he did was tweet at K.I. saying, what's up, ma? You don't miss a nigga? K.I. would respond with gun emojis, asking to link up. King Von would laugh off the guns and ask her why she never came to see him, like she promised that she would. K.I. didn't respond for hours, and when she did, she said, how does it feel to lose your homie while you locked up behind them bars during that time? King Von didn't respond to this comment. He would simply tweet out, R.I.P. J Money. K.I. would retweet this as well, making fun of King Von. But Def would once again pay K.I. a visit, taking someone very close to her, Little B, No Surrender. They knew each other ever since they were babies. They grew up together. Then they started to do drills together. But it wouldn't be the ops that would get the Little B. It would be the Chicago PD.
A massive police presence between Eberhard and Rhodes on 63rd. Patrol cars, blue lights flashing after a police-involved shooting.
He got shot 7 times on Rhodes, right there by the police.
Friends say 19-year-old Rasan Shah had just left them to get something to eat.
He was running through the alley with no gun or nothing, because he just left us. So we know he ain't had no gun. The police shot him unjustified. Too many times in his back. He ain't do nothing, man.
Look for an ATM from our bank, or we'll have to pay.
And then a lot of people wonder why do you got all these little 10, 11-year-olds sitting up here making Facebook pages, sitting up here posting guns. This is the influence. This is the influence, y'all. Make sure y'all kids is like real talk. Monitor their social media.
At the funeral, and now that KI was in pain, she wanted her enemies to be in pain too, especially Chief Keef, who had been dissing Tuka for many years, but he had long ago left Chicago for sunny Los Angeles and rap stardom, but he still had family ties in the city, and KI would take full advantage of this, because in the early morning hours of April 10th, 2014, 30-year-old Mario Hess, aka Blood Money, and a cousin of Chief Keef, was sitting in front of his family's home in West Inglewood when he was approached by a gunman and shot multiple times. Just 2 weeks prior to his death, he signed a deal with Interscope Records, and he did interviews talking about how he had big plans for the future. But unfortunately, those plans would never come to fruition. KI would let it be known that she was responsible for the death of Blood Money, but not even the death of her enemies could heal her heart. She would take to social media to talk about her pain and everything that she had been through in her life and all of the friends that she had lost. She even made a post about her dad and how she knew that she would be a better person if he was around. According to KI's mom, she tried to talk to her daughter about everything that was going on, but when she looked her daughter in the eyes, she could already tell that her soul was gone, and her mother's intuition would be proven correct, because on April 11, 2014, KI would make a fatal mistake. She would tweet out her location for everybody to see, including her enemies. She was walking on the 6400 block of South Eberhard. She was with FBG Butter and Spoon from Gyro City. They were headed over to Wooski's house to celebrate Boss Trail's birthday when a gunman hopped out of a vehicle, waved a few bystanders who was in his path out of the way.
As y'all see, that's King Von.
So he could have a clear shot and begin to fire at KI and her friends. Her 2 friends would be hit, one in the foot, one in the knee. And KI, she was hit 9 times in the chest, neck, and in the jaw. After being shot, she would stumble to a nearby home where she laid on some steps, and she would take her last breath, ending the life of the most deadly female assassin in Chicago gangland history.
Always apart, always acting wild. You should be doing what you told. You was never one of us. You never could be. How my hair look, Mike?
Look good, girl.
Following the news of her death, KI's enemies would take to social media and rejoice and celebrate.
So do y'all see this? Girl 17 bragged about killing 17 people online before being gunned down. So she was 17 years old that bragged about 17 people that she unalived. They say you live by the sword, you die by what? The sword.
Her demise in Tukaville, they would vow to get revenge. Right after KI's murder, 36 people would be shot in a 36-hour period, along with 4 people losing their lives. There were 2 prime suspects in the murder of KI, with one of them being Antron Young, aka Big A, from O Block. He would take to the internet and let it be known about his involvement in KI's death. Andy would change his social media handle from Big A to Big Aski, meaning Ask KI. But in the early morning hours of December 4th, 2016, Big A entered a Sammy's Grill on South King Drive. But while inside, an altercation occurred that resulted in him being shot in the face, dead at only 23 years old. Some people say that this had nothing to do with KI's death and it was a completely separate situation. But there's also a theory that it was two members from Tukaville, DeAndre Wallace, aka Can't Get Right, and George Barnes, aka G.I. Joe, KI's brother. Some believe that he was the one that got get back for his slain sister. And the second prime suspect in KI's murder was none other than King Von. On April 24th, 2014, he will be arrested and held for questioning, but ultimately, the state would reject the case due to lack of evidence, and King Von would walk free. But just a few weeks later,
Watch this, y'all. He got away with the cops, but at the same time, he went right on Twitter once again, bragging about the stuff that he did. Watch this.
King Von would be arrested again for a different murder, that of 19-year-old Malcolm Stuckey, who was killed after attending a party in the Inglewood neighborhood. King Von would spend the next 3 years in prison fighting this case, but in 2017, after a 5-day trial, he will be found innocent and once again set free. But once he was released, he went right back to doing what he did best, drilling. There's a famous Instagram live with King Von and members of O Block going back and forth with members of Tukaville, with King Von saying that they had a surprise coming for him and that it was coming soon. On October 22nd, 2018, there was a funeral being held at Burnside Church for a 25-year-old man by the name of Vantrese Chris, aka Dusky the Man. There were members of Tukaville in attendance, but as the service was being let out, a car pulled up and started shooting into the crowd, hitting 6 people, including FBG Wooski, with an almost fatal shot to the head.
Back to the shooting that happened on 92nd and Cottage Grove. At least 6 people were shot as they were leaving Bethlehem Star Missionary Baptist Church. Friends and families gathered for the funeral service of Chicago rapper Vantrese R. Chris, who went by the name Dusky the Man. Chris was shot on October 9th. He was taken to the hospital where he later died. The victims in yesterday's shooting range from 18 to 27 years old, males and a female. The most critical, a 21-year-old shot in the head.
King Von would let it be known that him and the Get Back gang were responsible for the brazen act. But King Von wouldn't have to be in the streets for too much longer, because legendary Chicago rapper Lil Durk would take him under his wing and begin to groom him to become a rap superstar. And he would release a string of hits, quickly becoming one of the hottest rappers in the game. But even during his time at the top, he would still talk about KI, dissing her in songs and on social media, along with other murders that he claimed that he committed, doing math, counting up the bodies.
Talk about bodies, I got a few 4 + 3, 3 + 2. I'm King Von. Need no bean to make you bleed, nigga. Body count so ugly, I remind you of that scream, nigga. Bleed.
You can't stand them. What? Body count so ugly, still handsome. Don't pop my chain, but dance.
Let's talk bodies, I got 7. They stop me at the airport cause I keep that metal.
And the story of King Von and KI would get even more interesting in 2019 when the TV network A&E filmed a documentary titled Secret Life of a Gang Girl, The Untold Story. And during this documentary, they interviewed King Von, but from the tone of the interview, it seems as if A&E was under the impression that King Von was a man in love with KI, obsessed with being with her, not knowing that they may have been interviewing a man obsessed with taking her life.
I was trying to first. I was like, damn. Doing shit.
The exact text was something along the lines of, when it's all over with, I'm gonna get up in you or something. Does that sound about right?
That's something that sound raw. So yeah, I'll be saying raw. Yeah, I probably did say that.
Yeah, not even at funerals, like for real. I don't go. I don't go at all. I don't care who you is.
Right at the top wouldn't last for too much longer. He had tension with superstar Louisiana rapper NBA Youngboy, who had beef with Lil Durk and OTF.
Fuck young boy talking about on this song, bro.
What?
You talking crazy on this man.
Oh yeah?
He ain't even like that.
Oh!
On his ass now.
On his
All that
ass.
cap. You got cap in your raps.
Go straight, boss. Don't hit the white lady.
You got cap in your raps.
But in the early morning hours of November 6, 2020, that tension would escalate into a fight outside of a hookah lounge in Atlanta between King Von and Georgia rapper Quando Rondo, who was signed to NBA Youngboy. And this fight would result in King Von being shot multiple times, ending the life of the O Block legend. 1 year after his death.
This is the mural, y'all. This is the mural that I was telling y'all about. I also put it up on Google. I can pull it up and also show you at the same time. But this is what they had painted, or somebody had it painted. That's right across the street from where he grew up from, where all of this violence was from. You know, where all, like, literally right in front of O Block, right in front of the complex. It's so crazy. It's almost like they are just like, oh God, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Like they praising him. It really kind of tweaks me out a little bit because just wait till I pull it up on Google. It's ridiculous. You know.
The Chicago PD began to release documents listing King Von as the murderer in multiple cases, including that of Jakira Barnes, officially ending the chapter of King Von versus K.I. In the years following the death of her daughter, K.I.'s mom has gotten together with other mothers in Chicago who have lost their children to violence. FBG Duck's mom, Tuka's mom, amongst others, trying to bring some peace and light to such a tragic and dark situation. There's a stigma that Black kids in poor communities choose the gang life simply because they're more prone to violence. They want easy money, street credibility, and internet clout. And for some, that very well may be true. But there's also a number of young kids that choose the gang life to receive something they feel they never had before: love and family. Even if that love is coming from a cold street and that family is giving you a hug while handing you a gun to put in work. And if K.I. was raised in a different environment under different circumstances, maybe her life would have turned out different for the better, but we'll never know. And Jakira Barnes, she was only 17 years old when she died. Rest in peace.
Okay. So I'm gonna go back up here. Okay. Lisa, you good, sis?
Yes, I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
that's something. I tell
yeah.
you.
So Doris say it's a memorial, basically. I mean, I guess that's what, you know, the intentions of the whole mural. But to me, it seemed like what he represent and what he represented is being glorified. That's what it seemed like to me. By, you know, having that mural right there. Even though he did become famous at some point. He was a famous hip hop rapper, storyteller. That's what they like to call him, a storyteller, because the majority of his raps was a story, and it's almost kind of seemed like if you was to listen to one or several of his songs, he gives a lot of input, or basically a story about his life, what he has done, you know, and you know, things that he experienced and stuff like that. I have to be real careful with my words, y'all, because it's not like these young men and these people, family members are still not alive, you know. And okay, Child of God say that's how her nephew passed. Yeah, unfortunately. It's just crazy. He was 15, Child of God. Lord have mercy. I'm so sorry to hear that. Wow, but this is what I mean. Let me show y'all. This is what I mean by glorifying. Check this out. Okay. So y'all see this. That's the mural. But then look at this. See these folks taking pictures with it? You see all this? I done rolled past this several times and, you know, just watch people literally get up out of their car and take pictures with this. Or, you know, right in front of this mural. Y'all see this? What is that? Little dirt? Little dirt? Like, it's crazy. So do this seem like it's actually being glorified? From what y'all done heard, this man being accused of so many and bragging about so many people that he has unalive. Do y'all think that this is appropriate? It's crazy to me. I don't think that it should be glorified. As far as, you know, what he actually represented. So now you see Soulja Boy. You got celebrities that come to Chicago and they make sure that if they mess with King Von, trust and believe they gonna take a picture in front of this mural. Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's truly sad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like you say, it shouldn't, you know, be like that. I feel like, you know, anything is teach what you shouldn't do, or this is not how you want to come up. This is not the right place.
Yeah, you
And
know,
see
you got.
where it
Go ahead,
caused
sis.
his life. Go ahead when you say what you was going to say.
Like, only thing I was about to say was that, but you still got little kids that live in that same complex that he came up out of.
Right. And it's not teaching them, this, making it seem like it's okay,
It
and
was
it's not.
okay.
It's not okay. That's for his young age and doing all the stuff that he have done. It's not okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you was gonna do it, make an example. This is not the way to be. This is not how you want to come up. This is not how you want to. That's not it. It's something better than that.
Mm-hmm. So, child of God, it's actually it's a YouTuber that actually speak to the dead, or I'm the yeah, I could say that, to the dead. You have those people that can actually do that, and some can actually reach spirits and stuff like that. But anyways, he don't too much do them live, but he'll make a video about it, and he make a video about a lot of different celebrities by request. And he did one on King Von during the time of his of him being unalive. And it's so crazy because the way that he do them is almost like you can actually hear King Von voice, and like the state that he was in as he was transferring from life until the spirit and into the spirit world. So it is not necessarily like he's in hell. Everybody got to go through the gates, and it's a waiting period. Not sure exactly how long, of course. But just right within when they just waiting to be judged, kind of. That's the best way that I can actually explain it. But it's a page on here that I think could be kind of accurate. It's not only that he does, celebrities. He also did things as far as for Whitney Houston. He did one for Martin Luther King. He did one for Emmett Till. So if y'all interested and just want to hear it, I don't mind. You know what I mean? It's he always pray, before he start anything. And he prayed for his audience and stuff like that before he start anything. But I've listened to it and seen it several times. He also did one about the Kanika Jenkins case. He did one on her. Also about the latest young lady that was in Mexico, that she got jumped by her friends. She was unalive by her friends, but from them jumping on her. He did one on her too. So it's a lot of different things that he had did those type of readings and stuff like that on them. And it probably would shock you. It probably would. But if y'all interested, just let me know, and I can pull it up real quick. It's definitely not gonna be long. It wouldn't be long. It probably would be about a 10 or 15 minutes or something like that. If anybody interested, just let me know in the chat, and I can pull it up. It just let me know that when people pass away, a lot of times they don't even know that they gone. Instantly, they really just trying to understand if they gone. It's like the mindset or whatever the spirit is at. Your spirit can still be, within the living and just be at a waiting process. It can be confused, everything. I do a lot of research, y'all. I be really going through, like, when I'm curious, I'm curious. He is, well, originally, from how everybody else know him, He's a hip hop rap artist that's was born and raised in Chicago. Or are you speaking on the YouTube content creator that I was speaking about? Yep. So y'all be surprised. I'm trying to tell you.
Right, child of God. Yeah. It's, it's sad. And then they're so young, and it just put a lot on your mind, like how they're out there just like that, so young, at very young age. And wow, I don't know, because our raising was a little different than that. And even if your parents had to work, you had your rules and you obeyed by it and you did it. If not, you dealt with the consequences that came behind it. I don't, and it's sad when you see stuff like that, and especially at a young age. I talk to a lot of my nephews, even though, I feel like everybody gonna make their mistakes. They're gonna bump their head. Of course, they're gonna do that.
Yeah.
But, it goes back to the teaching, and a lot of it is really not out here like it really should be. Teaching, not just teaching. Going to school is good to get your books, your knowledge, but really truly and I'm gonna, baby, it's not right. It's not
Yeah.
of God. I mean, how you gonna pull? And I hated it when they pulled prayer out of school. That was the worstest thing they could have done when they did that.
Right.
Discipline need to be back in school. Now, you got your children, they go to school and they feel like they can talk to the teachers any kind of way, disrespectful. Uh, that wasn't allowed. Because if your teacher told you to do something, you better done what your teacher asked you to do. Because if you got in trouble at school, you got in trouble when you got home. And it needs to come back to the community. Now, nowadays, they see a child doing whatever, they just let them go ahead. Because if you say something to the child now, it's the parents ready to come up at you and be all hostile. But then you wondering what's wrong or why your child in this predicament. Because you done cut off everybody that to help you bring up your child. Now, yes, it's a lot of stuff that goes on with have parents to think, it's too much stuff going on. It's a lot of stuff, different spirits, different evilness out here where parents, yes, being careful about their children. Because and it's sad. But as we look at it, we're living in Revelations. As we look at everything that was said is happening now. Everything that's going on was said.
Yeah.
Until people wake up, and I'm going to always say until people wake up and really see. So, no.
So I'm gonna show this. Did nobody? Hey, it's all about God. Thank you for joining us, honey. How are you? Y'all make sure to welcome It's All About God. They are, and I don't blame them, Doris. A lot of the parents are. So I'm going to show y'all this. I'm great. Thanks for asking.
Keisha's about to wow us with her tree number.
Are you with XXX Tentacion on the other side?
You can say anything through this device and they'll hear you. Do you have any messages for your family, Devon? You love them? Love. You find light. Wow. Tonight, I attempt to get in contact with the spirit of the rapper King Von, otherwise known as Davon Bennett. Now, I'm going to be upfront and honest with you guys. This is probably one of the craziest sessions we have ever had. Not only does the spirit of who I believe to be King Von come through, but he also is seen to have brought XXX Tentacion and his grandfather with him. And all three speak tonight on this one-of-a-kind, mind-blowing session. So buckle up your seatbelts and prepare for a crazy ride as we help Davon Bennett find the light. Is King Von able to come through and speak with us tonight? Many people are wondering how you're doing, Davon. Have you crossed over yet? Come on through, Davon. You can use this device to leave a message to your friends, fans, or family. Is it easy to use this device, Dave?
I was able to trade this coin from Carvana for a brand new car. Here's how.
On the other side, Davon. It's a new life. Yeah. Are you managing well on the other side, Davon? Different. That's right. It's a big change when you cross over. Did you want to leave a message for your fans? You can come through and leave any message that you want for your fans, Davon. You will? They will really appreciate that. Thank you so much. It's very important to know that Davon's voice may change slightly as the session goes on. This is because it takes a lot of energy on his part to manipulate the audio to the sound of his original voice. On the other side, we don't have vocal cords, so we have to use the audio that's being given to us. Without an abundance of energy and skill, spirits won't be able to sound 100% as they once did when they were living.
Now, I know what happened. I saw the footage, but I want to know, Davon, do you know why they did this to you? It just seemed to have happened so fast in the footage, almost like it was planned. Do you know
Okay,
who
I cut it
shot
off.
you, Davon?
I cut it off, honey, because, that's why I asked if y'all actually wanted to see it. But let me just go to his page real quick. I just want to show y'all the other ones that he did. You know, it definitely could be scary as far as for somebody like that. Like he did one on Michael Jackson, as y'all can see. He did one on Tina Turner. I believe this the one that's on George Floyd. Y'all can see the ones. He did one on Jerry Springer, Robin Williams. The ones I know that's like, you know, that's the one, that's Tyree Nichols. Okay. People that I know that a lot of folks probably had that they know for sure. Eazy-E, Aaliyah, he did one on, here go Martin Luther King session with Martin Luther King. That was 2 years ago. John F. Kennedy, Nipsey Hussle, Tupac, the Kendrick Johnson, that young man that was found in a gym room. That goes to Emmett Till. So it's not just, you know, just like people that have done, you know, that type of stuff that what we were just covering today. He do a lot. It's not just those type of people. But even people, you know, like Emmett Till, Martin Luther King, you know. And you know that people that you know that have really good spirits and stuff like that. I've covered all of them. I have not did it on live, of course, but I've covered all of them. Even the mysterious death of DMX. Here we go, Kobe Bryant. The Shanquella case. He did the Shanquella case. As far as speaking to her. I'm pretty sure if y'all, whoever has always been up in my chat, we have went through Kevin Samuels. I have not watched this one, but that is Kevin Samuels. You know, they call him the female basher, but he also has one as well. Jelani Day. The young man that was in college, the young black man that was in college, and he was found in the river, you know, was pretty much allegedly unalived by a group of Caucasians, peers that was in college with him. You know, it's a lot. It's a lot. He don't just cover that, you know. It could be scary, and I believe that there is another side. You know, when people leave this world, they go somewhere and be, you know, wait for judgment. You know, so you don't have to believe it or nothing like that, but it's just my beliefs of what could possibly happen throughout, you know, the time frame. Here go Lisa Lopez. You know, y'all know that she was a part of TLC. You know, she was in a car crash. Lisa Lopez. There go Kanika Jenkins, as y'all can see. You know, unsolved mystery of Kanika Jenkins, the young lady that was found in the freezer of a hotel out here. Actually, you know, she was at a hotel party by the airport out here. You know, so that's always been a mystery, a case that still has not been solved. I'm not sure if y'all familiar with Pop Smoke. He was also a celebrity. So I just wanted to show y'all, just a few little things. You go to Notorious B.I.G. Everybody know he has not been one of those violent type of people, but everybody was always suspicious of what people would actually say when they in the afterlife. If y'all remember John Bonet, the little girl who I forgot. Y'all know who John Bonet is. But it was suspected that her or her parents had something to do with, her being unalived and found in her basement. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. He don't just cover, people like Vaughn. See, he did one on Elvis Presley, Princess Diana. I just wanted to show y'all that. Like, we really can go through it sometime, but it just like I understand where you coming from, Doris. I probably wouldn't want to do that, anyway. But as far as with King Von, because of the nasty things that he did, but he did do this particular person, Cody ITC. He definitely did. He do them not just for people like him, but people that has a good spirits. See, he got Queen Elizabeth, Marilyn Monroe, stuff like that. Even things that have to do with the Titanic. And he go by request. Most of the time, these things go by request. That he do those sessions, and he don't never do the sessions live. He do the sessions and then he will post them. I remember when he actually asked, he had put a post up and asked like, what should he, who should he pull up or ask to speak to, and this was during the case of Shanquella Robinson, and that's when he made the video of Shanquella Robinson, of her, and y'all would be surprised about what was said up in that. Okay, that's fine, Doris, no problem. It is not a problem.
And I want to say this too, just like the young girl that was in the hotel. That was truly a sad situation.
Yeah, the Kanika Jenkins case. That's the Kanika Jenkins case. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could. Y'all want to hear the Kanika Jenkins?
No.
No.
You talking about? It was truly sad about her and hearing how all that played out.
Okay.
And it's just sad because now you really, with your daughters, you have to be careful, especially knowing where they going. I think I was real strict on mine. I didn't let her just go anywhere. As a mother, you're going to make sure, especially young girls growing up, no, can I go spend a night over my friend's house? Who is your friend? What's your friend name? What's her last name? Who is her parents? Who is her mama? Who is her daddy? That was the kind of questions I asked. And I'm like, no, we're not doing that number right there. So she didn't like that too much, but hey, it is what it is.
I'm gonna do a story on we're gonna go through the Kanika Jenkins case too, because she was from here. She was from Chicago, so we're gonna get into it. It's not just all gonna be about gang related and stuff like that. It's a lot of stuff that goes on, and that has happened out towards Chicago, not just Illinois, but in Chicago, the city of Chicago. So yeah, we're gonna cover the Kanika Jenkins case. There's so many different versions of her case, so I'm not gonna actually go through, too many content creators profiles or nothing like that, but mostly just off the facts that was actually shown and spoken on, because it's too
Good night,
many
Big Boots.
conspiracy theories and all kind of stuff. Good night, Big Boots. I'm about to get ready and leave shortly anyways, because my house is hot. It's ridiculous. I don't even want to do anything. I'll be doggone it if I go up in there and cook. If I do cook, it's gonna be something really quick, to where I can just go ahead and make it and run up out the kitchen. Cause like I say, I know if I look at my doggone thermostat, it's probably gonna say about a good 80 some odd degrees probably up in my crib.
What case you follow close on Doris?
Kanika Jenkins.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
sad.
Because it was real sad, and it was so crazy. It scared me to death, because I believe like maybe a few months or something like that, or a couple of months to a few months, something like that, my youngest daughter, or one of my daughters, had went to a doggone hotel party. Lord have mercy. I was scared. Mama, I'll be fine and all this and that, because none of my kids drink. My son, he a minor anyway, but at these days, you just can't put nothing past kids about what they do, especially when they not around their parents. But one thing I do know is that they do not drink. So
And then like hearing the story, like one girl went to a sleepover and they beat their child. How they did her. There's too much going on. And then they feel like it's a joke. And you actually see this stuff on social media where they're fighting and doing this, and they sitting there watching it like, oh, this is fun. Come on, is you serious?
Yeah.
Stuff just it's been got out of here really bad.
So tomorrow I'll probably put up one of those tolls, so y'all can be able to I say toll, I mean one of those polls, so y'all can be able to choose which one y'all want me to talk about. I got a few stories that's lined up that I already have information on and stuff like that I wanted to discuss with everybody, or just to be able to enlighten everybody about everything. So I'm gonna put a poll up, and if y'all have y'all notifications on, y'all should be able to see it. Y'all be able to see it on Facebook and on YouTube. It should come up within your notifications. If you have your notifications turned on all, it should pop up. It'll be on the community wall. Yeah, I was real worried, Doris. Like for real, I was so worried. I stayed in contact with her. Thank God they got home safe. And I'm just like, look, don't take no drink. You make sure whoever you came there with, y'all stick together. Y'all leave together. If you need my help, make sure your phone is charged up at all times. If you start to feel uncomfortable in any type of way, call me. Or whoever you came with, leave. If you need me to send you an Uber, let me know in advance. As soon as you feel some type of way, or anything weird, let me
And
know.
I taught mine to don't never set your drink down. Because if you set it down, don't get it. Don't let nobody fish you. Then you fish your own.
Yeah.
And you take your cup with you.
Yeah.
Don't drink it. If you left it, you leave it.
Yeah.
Because I know somebody right today was talking about how they left their cup on the table. They was there with their friend, they thought, and left their cup there on their table. Went to use the restroom, came back.
My mom was drugged before.
My friend that got up, the person that was with them got up, left the table, said, I'm finna go dance, took their purse, and went on the floor to dance. So she was still sitting there at that table, and there was a man sitting across the way. Soon as she picked that cup up, The man looked at her. She picked that cup up. He went over there and knocked the cup down out of her hand, and she looked at him like, what he was doing. And he said, look down there. He said, your friend put something in your drink.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to be careful.
Yeah, most definitely. Yep, that is true, Doris. FPG Duck, he actually, he was a part of the whole King Von and KI. He was with KI. He was on KI side. He was a part of that particular gang related stuff that they had it going on. Lil Jojo, he was a part of the King Von side. Yep. Kanika, she wasn't on neither one of those sides, but Kanika was from the west side of Chicago. King Von and FBG Duck and all them, they was from the south side. Yep. So yeah, we definitely is gonna be covering stories. I mean, it's not called Chi-Town Talks for nothing now, y'all. Come on now. I can't leave Chi-Town out now. And we have a lot of festivals that we do out here, jazz festivals, They also have, like, I'm not sure if they did the Taste of Chicago this past summer. I think they let that part go. But we used to have a Taste of Chicago, where a lot of different restaurants, local restaurants and stuff all around Chicago, they would come together and it'd just be like one really big festival. Like it always was beautiful. You would have free concerts all the time. Like, I love my city no matter what, you know what I mean? Because it hasn't always been like this or like how it was. You always have your ups and you have your downs. No matter what. We got the Buckingham Fountain, one of the famous things that's downtown that people always love to go by there and relax by the fountain and take pictures, and everything. Like, I love it. It's unfortunately it's not the same like it used to be. People try to keep to themselves. Really, things have really drastically changed when the pandemic started, because everything got shut down. A lot of things did not reopen after getting shut down. We lost a lot of businesses and stuff like that. So it's all good. So they still try to do the festivals though. And we actually did just have the back to school parade that we always do every year. So I'm glad they kept that tradition. They already had it. They just went back to school, I believe, this past Monday out here. Yeah. But we definitely gonna talk about it, y'all. We is gonna talk about it. Y'all can't forget our handsome Emmett Till. It's from Chicago. So we're gonna do a movie night and we're gonna watch the Till movie, the Emmett Till movie. We're gonna do that together as well. He was originally from Chicago. Now, it's definitely not all bad. No, it's not. It's not. So, y'all, we've been on here for 3.5 hours. Y'all make sure that you all hit the like button if you already have it. Share the live, and do not forget to go follow Chi-Town Talks on Facebook so y'all can keep up with the local news and everything else that I really don't go through on my live. Things happen every day. I will be posting on there several times a day. We try to keep y'all posted on several things. And Hopefully sometime this weekend, maybe Friday or Saturday, we can go and listen to our music and chill out. Y'all know how we do. We gonna kick it off. You ready for that, Lisa? You gonna be dancing again?
I hope so. Yeah, of
She said, I
course.
hope so. Yeah, we definitely gonna get it popping, y'all. We gonna chill out and let me see. Let me see if we can show Doris a little something. A little something before we leave. Just let's get Doris a warm welcome with this, y'all. Y'all know how we do it. Let me get to it as soon as it comes. Don't leave yet, Doris. We got you. We finna give you the warm welcome to Chi-Town Talks. And then I'm gonna get up out of here.
Tonight is the night that you make me a woman. What? You said you'll be gentle with me. I hope you will. Oh, I'm nervous and I'm trimmed, waiting for you to walk. Try hard to relax. Check this out. But I just can't keep still.
No.
Get down, little mama. 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 Get down. Big booty bitches, they talk a lot of smack. Bend your ass over, let me hit it from the back. 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 Let me bang. All the ladies in the house, all the fellas is too. We bout to get it juking. So what you came to do? Girls hit the flow. Let me see you drop it low. Everybody in the building say, hey, oh. All the ladies in the house, all the fellas is too. We bout to get it juking. So what you came to do? Girls hit the flow. Let me see you drop it low. Everybody in the building say, bounce and break your back. You bounce so hard, you break your back, girl. Bounce and break your back. Bounce and break your back. Bounce and break your back. You bounce so hard, you break your back, girl.
All right. Warm welcome, Doris. That was for you, boo. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Okay, y'all. I'm about to get up out of here. That is the end of my content for tonight. I appreciate everybody being present. I love y'all. I will keep you all in my prayers that everybody will be safe and everything. Like, I appreciate y'all so much. You said thanks for the warm welcome. You are so welcome. You are so welcome. We're going to have some fun, though. It ain't going to always be serious, but I really haven't did story time in quite some time. How long it probably been, Lisa? Probably about a good 3 weeks, right?
Oh, it's been a good minute.
It's been a little while, so I'm like, oh wow, I got to get back on point and my story times. So, good night, y'all. Y'all, everybody have a good evening. It's only what?
Good night, y'all. Good night, everyone.
Wednesday. We got a couple of more days left. Couple of more days. Later.
Good night.
Love you.
Love you. Good night.